What is up, TFA fam? No Cody tonight. Kev Steele and Robbie Jeffries here, giving you guys all that you can handle with our start sits. I mess it up every damn time. Start shits, whatever it might be. We want you guys to jump into the chats. Give us your questions. We are rolling towards week 4 already. We are ready. Kev, are you ready for week 4?
I'm absolutely ready for week 4. Again, another good weekend, I think, of really good games. Tomorrow's Thursday night game. Jaguars, Bengals, not the best we've seen, but, at least I think there should be some offensive output there. So I think that's about as much as you can ask for.
I feel like this Bengals team has not been the team that I thought they would be, coming into the season. Joe Mixon's been almost fantastic. I won't go quite as far to say it's fantastic. I'd like to see a couple more touchdowns there, but did you know they're passing the second least amount of times of all teams in the NFL right now? I think they're at 25 attempts per game. The only team lower is the Saints at 21 attempts per game. Absolutely not what we expect from them either. But I want to see Joe Burrow unleashed, and I hope we get it this week, tomorrow against a really good matchup in the Jaguars.
I think some of that probably has to do with the fact that of game script. Where typically, we're used to seeing the Bengals playing from behind and having to throw the ball more. Where this year, I don't think they haven't really had to do that as much. So I think that is probably playing into it more than anything.
Yeah, no, it could be, and I think again we're getting to the point where we have 3 games in the books. I don't know if that's enough for a sample size yet, right? I think we have to get to the 4 or 5 weeks. I think last year you had mentioned that. Did you say 6 weeks or something is kind of that standard for a decent sample size where we can start believing in some of these trends? Because there's guys like Mike Williams who's absolutely gone berserk. And while I believe he has leveled up and taken a larger share of that offense, will we see him sustain this top 5 wide receiver that he has been? On the flip side, maybe a guy like A-Rob, who has just been really a disappointment from what we expected when we drafted him. So I think some of these offenses are still shaping, figuring themselves out. Some of the matchups will continue to change as we go. So I think we're hitting kind of that peak where we start to see some of these guys level out.
Yeah, I mean, just as you talk about the Bengals as well, if you look at them, they're also 30th in terms of pace of play. And so, I mean, they're just have been a really slow, methodical offense. They haven't been one that's really been fast-paced like I think that a lot of people thought they were going to be.
Yeah. Hey, Kev, let's jump in here to some questions just to get us started, because I know we always get behind. So I want to stay on top of that tonight if we can. We've got a standard league question here from Jose. He's curious about some of these lineup decisions. He has Ridley in there at wide receiver, who is, again, like A-Rob, been a little bit of a disappointment so far. Matt Ryan has not been throwing the ball down the field. The A-dot is extremely low, which is kind of crazy when you saw what Calvin Ridley did last year and having one of the highest A-dots in all the NFL. And then Zeke Elliott versus Carolina, which I'm not worried about at all. I think we've seen that Zeke outside of week 1 when he played the Bucs, Zeke's been what we wanted him to be. He's been a running back 1. Pollard has been right there alongside him playing extremely well, but I don't think it's to the detriment of Zeke. Are you looking to maybe mix with this roster at all with some of the bench options he has?
I mean, I feel like he'd be getting cute by doing so. I love Zach Moss's matchup this week, but I'm not playing over Zeke Elliott, right? And then, if you look at the other running backs that he has, Aaron Jones is obviously a must start. David Montgomery's in a fantastic matchup against Detroit. So I'm not sitting either one of those. So I don't think you should be concerned there. And then at wide receiver, I mean, I get it with him because he just hasn't really produced like we thought he was going to. But that offense has been terrible as a whole. So I think you leave it the way that you have it. And I think, I just think you'd be getting too cute by sitting any of these guys. And especially for a standard league. So it takes away some of the stuff that you would be worried about as a pass catcher. Like Zeke's clearly the guy who's getting most of the touches out of the backfield still. And I think he has the highest upside for a touchdown as well. So
I think the one that I might look at is Godwin here, because we have Tom Brady coming back to Foxborough. He wants to throw to hit that passing record, all-time passing leader, and going against his old team and his old coach. I think that this could be a really good Godwin game. Obviously, there's Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown is expected to be activated on Thursday, so we know that there's other options. Gronk as well. That's someone we can't forget. How fantastic would it be for Brady to Gronk touchdowns to continue, especially in Foxborough. I almost want to go Godwin over Ridley. Is that getting a little too cute?
That one, no, I don't. I think you could do that if you wanted to. It is. I mean, I will say that obviously the New England, that is where they're really good is in the secondary. I think they're like third in pass DVOA on the year, but they really haven't been challenged yet either. I mean, they've gotten to play the Dolphins, the Saints. I mean, it's not like they've been out here playing some really good passing offenses yet. So,
right. Walito, we are doing great. Glad to see you jumping in. You were the first one in, as always. Appreciate that a ton. Question from Martin here. He traded Pittman and Waddle in exchange for A.J. Brown. So I believe he got A.J. Brown back, buying low a little bit with the injury dip there. A.J. Brown struggled outside of one touchdown in week 1, I believe. He gave away Pittman and Waddle. You like this? I do.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern is that we just don't know right now how serious this hamstring injury is for AJ Brown. But I love buying low, and you didn't really give up a ton for him either. I mean, I like Michael Pittman, but this offense is just hasn't hit yet. And Jalen Waddle, I think, is fine as well. Like, I think that both of them are decent options, obviously. But if you can get AJ Brown for it, like, heck yeah. Like, as long as this doesn't turn out to be some long-term injury or a recurring injury for AJ Brown, like, I think you hit a home run here.
Yeah, I think this is the week where I've seen the most trades in my leagues. I don't know if it's been the same in yours, but a lot of teams 0-3, or maybe they're 1-2 and just barely squeaked out a win. They're really starting to panic, and they're wanting to add players. And those are the teams I'm trying to target to pull some of these studs that maybe haven't been performing quite up to expectation. And I think A.J. Brown is a fantastic option to do that with as well. Again, you're right. We don't know if this is going to be a 1-week injury, 2-week injury. He did not practice. Neither did Julio, for that matter. So there's 2 potential wide receivers out for Ryan Tannehill. We will see as the week goes, but I think I'm starting to target some of those guys and make trades this week. Maybe for another guy like Allen Robinson, who we saw a really tough outing by Justin Fields. We have heard Matt Nagy say again, after saying that all 3 of these quarterbacks are in the mix, even Nick Foles, he went back again today and said Andy Dalton is our starter when healthy, and Andy Dalton got into limited practice. So I don't really know what to expect out of that. They do have the Lions, and I do think even if it's Justin Fields, we see a better performance than we did in week 3. Hard to see a worse performance, I guess, right?
Yeah, I know, but Matt Nagy's such a donkey. Like, what are we doing? You're talking about Nick Foles, all this other stuff. Like,
I didn't get that at all. Like, why even bring Nick Foles into the conversation at all?
I have no idea. Or why even bring Andy Dalton involved in this now? Like, you are where you are. Your best option is Justin Fields. How about we get a little bit more creative with the play calling? Like, they never did anything to utilize his legs, right? Like get him outside of the pocket. Like utilize them the correct way. They just had him back there. It was like an Andy Dalton game plan for Justin Fields, and it made no sense whatsoever. Like, I've said it once, like, Matt Nagy is Adam Gase. Like, he is just a terrible coach. He's never been a good coach, and he does not deserve, like, he should be fired already. I don't have any idea why he hasn't been fired yet.
Yeah, and I think this probably is his last year. I can't imagine this Bears team is going to do anything crazy. What is it? They're probably going to finish 6-11 or something like that. So this is most likely his last year, which would be exciting because who's that next coach that comes in to coach Justin Fields and get him ready for that 2022 season? As a dynasty guy, that's something I'm excited about. So hopefully this could be his last year. That's right. We're back. Down a person, but I think we have that hedge life that Cody always kind of splits the difference between Kevin and myself. So now you guys are just going to get the full unfiltered each side of the pendulum, right? There's going to be no agreement. You're going to hear the back and forth. Martin coming in with another question here. I think this is Marvin Jones. He's asking, should he start Marvin Jones? His receivers are Woods, Diggs, A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown's likely not playing would be my guess. I think he would end up starting Marvin Jones.
Yeah, and like I said, I like Marvin Jones a lot this week. Really good matchup. Or excuse me, it's not a good matchup, but the target share that he sees, he is kind of in that Brandon Cooks type where he is getting so much of the target share in this offense that I think that it's hard to sit him. We did talk about, in the ranking shows that me and you did this week that, this Bengals defense is not one to They've been really good so far to start the year. They're top 10 in both pass DVOA and run DVOA on the season. This defense is so, but I still like Marvin Jones. I think he is a solid wide receiver 3 this week.
Yeah, Marvin Jones, his most disappointing week was last week, and he went 6 for 62. Like that's a fine floor. He's getting the most targets out of this entire offense. I'm not worried about Laviska Shenault. I think he's kind of an afterthought. He's going to be more talented in a different type of offense. We thought maybe Urban Meyer would know how to use him, but it seems like he's just not going to get utilized the way he should. And so he's kind of a non-factor for me. I think he's droppable in redraft leagues. And so I really think this is Marvin Jones, 1A, really a 1, and then DJ Chark is kind of a 2. Probably not a guy you're just starting most weeks as we hit buys and injuries maybe. But Marvin Jones, I think, should be he's in my top 28. I think you were really close with him as well. So he is a start for me. No problem if A.J. Brown is out. Brendan's got a question here. Bengals D or Bears defense this week?
I think I would go Bengals, just because Trevor Lawrence has shown the propensity to turn the ball over quite a bit so far in the season. So I think I would end up going Bengals here. Not that it's a bad matchup either for the Bears whatsoever going against the Lions, but the Lions have been surprisingly just kind of staying in games. They're not winning, but they're able to kind of keep pace and stay in games. Jared Goff isn't really killing them, and he did have a couple bad turnovers when they played the Packers. But other than that, I feel like in terms of just pace, how these games could go, I think I would much rather I would prefer the Bengals.
I would as well. They're going to get Trey Waynes back for week 4. He hasn't played any of the first 3 weeks, and he was their big signing at corner. So that should help a defense that's already been outperforming what I expected them to do at the beginning of the season. And then you get, like you were saying, Trevor Lawrence, who has 7 interceptions, 2 fumbles. So we're talking about 9 turnovers in just 3 weeks of football, taking a handful of sacks as well. So really, if you're facing a lot of these rookie quarterbacks have struggled, and so I'm going to attack them early in the season until they start to get this experience, they start to get the legs underneath of them. So Bengals for me as well. I'm going to skip around here, go to Gaskin or Elijah Mitchell. Who do you got between these two?
I'd probably go Myles Gaskin here. Gaskin kind of bounced back a little bit last week in that game where in terms of his touches anyways. So I just don't really know what to expect from the 49ers with Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell once he's back. If you look last week, he had 58% of the snaps last week for Myles Gaskin, 13 carries, which is the most he's had all year. He ran 17 routes, 6 targets, which is kind of on par with what he's been doing all year. So, again, he's just another guy who hasn't found the end zone yet. The yardage has been okay, 76, 46, 74 over the first 3 games, but he just hasn't found the end zone. It is a little bit of a shame that Malcolm Brown continues to kind of take away some of those opportunities from him. But I do like Myles Gaskin here.
I'm probably going to go Elijah Mitchell. I think that we saw in the first 2 weeks that he was used heavily. We're talking about 17 carries, I think 19 carries. And that's without getting the pass catching work that went to JaMychal Hasty when he was still playing. Sure, could Sermon work in a little bit more and they split? Yeah, that could be the case. But I still think even if they do split, he's going to be getting more catches than more carries than Gaskin. I think he has a better shot at a touchdown. I just don't know if Gaskin's going to get a lot of touchdowns. This is an offense that so far has passed quite a bit. Maybe that's been a little bit of game script, but not a ton. They've been kind of back and forth in some of these games. Gaskin's just a guy that I feel like he's going to have to catch you 5 to 7 catches, get 40 receptions just to kind of be running back 2 worthy. If he gets 5 touchdowns on the entire year, I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell between these two. Mark Andrews as tight end. I think you're fine. We saw Mark Andrews do really, really well this past week, had 103 or 109 yards. He's playing a ton of snaps. He's running more routes than he's ran in previous years, splitting time with Nick Boyle in past years, going all the way back to Hayden Hurst when he was there. So he's actually playing more than he ever has before. So I think you're going to see more weeks where Mark Andrews has like week 3 than you did in week 1 and 2. Gasecki had bonkers targets this last week. I think it was 14. Now that's including an overtime game. And I do like Higbee. He's normally going to be a top 10 tight end for me. I don't know why they're both on there. Maybe this is a smaller league, but I'm not worried about picking up another guy to pair with Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go Mark Andrews. It is a really, really tough matchup against the Denver Broncos, but I still think you probably lean towards Mark Andrews here. He's still going to see a lot of targets in this game. It was encouraging to see Mike Gesicki, though. I will say that. Just get an incredible, just peppered with targets there. 12 targets. Yeah. It just felt like he was the security blanket all game for Jacoby Brissett. And so I like, I don't mind Mike Gesicki this week. I actually have Mike Gesicki, I think, as a top 12 tight end for myself. But, Tyler Higbee, is always in play every single week as well. But I just think Mark Andrews is probably a little safer.
Mike Gesicki goes from 2 targets, 0 catches week 1, has a couple of catches in week 2, really doesn't do much in week 2. Bonkers in week 3, so now people are starting to pick him up. I just hope he doesn't disappoint again in week 4 and do kind of the tight end dance that we do where we're a week late with some of these streamers. But with Brissett leaning on him like he did, at least in week 3, that was encouraging to see, even with the overtime game. Walito, absolutely perfect, replacing Cody. Start CEH in any question. Start Mike Williams. You forgot to mention Austin Eckler. Have some false narrative where you're arguing with yourself about what people are saying down about Austin Eckler. Cody has at least one line each week about what people are talking down on Austin Eckler. Newsflash, no one's talking bad about Austin Eckler. Everybody loves him. So, yes, you have completely replaced Cody.
I did find that funny a little bit because, Austin Eckler, everybody loved Austin Eckler the whole offseason. Everybody did. I didn't hear anybody that was negative on Austin Eckler.
But here he is.
But Cody's got to get his little jabs in, I guess.
You have to create your own doubters, right? Like the teams that come in, they say nobody was believing in us. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, you were favored to win. Like, that's Austin Eckler. Like, nobody is doubting you. Everyone believes in you. I do. That's for sure. Let's go to 2 flexes here. PPR. Tim Patrick, Manny Sanders, Chase Edmonds, AB, and Renfro. Which 2 are you picking for a PPR for N Savvy?
I think I'm going to go Chase Edmonds and Emmanuel Sanders. Or I don't know. AB's tough.
Yeah, these are a lot of really close guys because the first name that pops out to me here is Tim Patrick, who looked really good. I think he had caught all 5 of his targets for 98 yards. We have no more KJ Hamler out for the year. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy's still out. Teddy Bridgewater has been playing really, really good football. So I think he's right there in this mix as well. It's probably Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is due for a touchdown one of these weeks. Like, James Conner keeps stealing them. He works his way into the red zone, gets 7 catches, gets tackled, in the red zone each time, and then they bring in James Conner and he finishes the drive. I think Chase Edmonds is due for a big week here sooner rather than later. I do not want to bench him, so I'm probably going to go Edmonds. You're right, it's probably AB, but I do like Tim Patrick this week. I think I have him as a top 36. I have him as wide receiver 37 going against Baltimore.
Yeah. To me, it comes down to, I think I'm locking in Chase Edmonds, and then it would come down to Emmanuel Sanders and AB for me. And I think AB makes a little bit more sense, but I guess I would go AB. I would feel stupid sitting Antonio Brown, especially as well as he was playing prior to missing time with the COVID stuff. It's just a great matchup for Manny Sanders.
Yeah, like this.
It is a great matchup. So normally you'd be like, okay. Normally in my head you would be like, well, they're probably going to crush them. They're going to get up really quickly, and they're just going to.
Yep.
I don't think but that's not what Buffalo does. Like, Buffalo is still going to throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball no matter what. And so, it's really tough to set it, especially. The air yards have been there for them all year, and that's kind of what led to So some indicators for people, whenever you're looking at wide receivers, like paying attention to air yards matters a lot. And that is why a lot of people, and Maddie last week were all over Manny Sanders last week, was because of his air yard share. He just hasn't connected on some of them. Well, eventually, that's going to happen. And that's what happened last week. He exploded, had 2 touchdowns, 94 yards, and and had a big game. And I think that's something you kind of expect moving forward. I mean, he's not going to have 94 yards and 2 touchdowns every single week. That's not happening. But I think with this offense, as much as they throw the ball, it's really close for me. But I think I would lean Chase Edmonds and AB.
Yep. Thoughts on T.Y. Hilton? I don't think he brings anything special to the Colts, but damn, the Colts need something special right now because they are woefully underperforming right now on the offensive side of the football. The line is banged up. Carson Wentz is banged up, not playing well at all. I'm really just disappointed in a lot of these weapons. And what I'm honestly scared for is that maybe he takes away some of the Pittman hype that we've been getting. Raylan, hope you hung on to Pittman. I know you had that question after week 1. We saw Pittman disappoint and then was fantastic week 2. Did pretty well again in week 3. So no, I don't think he brings anything special, but hopefully he does not take away too much from Michael Pittman. Are you looking to trade Pollard and Corey Davis for Jamar Chase? MJ gives you the roster there.
Pug Master, back again. Trade Pollard, Corey for Jamar. Yeah, I think you could do that. I mean, I don't mind doing that. And the way Jamar Chase has played.
I don't know who takes that. I don't know who takes that, honestly. That's you're buying high.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that need running backs, right? Like, there's been a lot of down running backs so far. Like, it hasn't been like great for the first 3 weeks for running backs. And so I think you see what Tony Pollard's been doing. He's been utilized. And, I could see somebody possibly making that trade if they're desperate for a running back. That's kind of what I was doing today in my home league. I was kind of looking through everybody, and I'm loaded at running back, and everybody else is just hurting. And so I was like, what trades can I put together here to maybe acquire like an elite wide receiver or something like that? And so, I mean, if you could make it happen, yeah, I'd go for it.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. If you can get it, absolutely do it. Noel here, a little worried about Goddard, and I think there is reason to be concerned. When I heard that Zach Ertz was going to stay with the Philadelphia Eagles, we thought he was going to be traded all off season. I was like, man, I just feel like there's going to be some games where it's going to be a little bit of them both, and you don't love the snap share, you don't love the target share because he's splitting with Ertz. He's managed to hang on, getting some decent yardage, got the touchdown week 1. But, man, this could go south quickly for Goddard. Is there anybody, waiver wire fodder that you're looking? One guy that I'll bring up, I don't know if he's still on waivers. He's been a waiver pickup after week 1 where he had 8 targets. Jared Cook, he had a touchdown call back in week 2. Week 3 didn't do much, but this is a guy that's running the 7th most routes of all tight ends. He's tied to a really, really good offense, a passing prolific offense with Justin Herbert, and obviously the 2 wide receivers there in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So Jared Cook is a guy that I would look to pick up if he's still out there. I'm not trusting Mike Gesicki. Maybe it's because I still got burned playing in week 1 where he got me a goose egg, but he's kind of in that conversation, but I'm not dropping Goddard. Goddard still is above him for me. Evan Ingram, not going to put him above him. Anybody that you're looking at there in the tight end room?
I think one that is kind of low key is Dawson Knox. We saw him last week kind of explode a little. I shouldn't say explode, but I guess for a tight end it is, right? 14.9 fantasy points is a pretty good week. But he hasn't been terrible either. I mean, 8.1, 9.7, 14.9. And while 8.1, 9.7, those aren't great numbers by any means. But we're still talking about tight ends, right? Like tight ends, outside of the top 3 or 4 guys, like you get a tight end that gets anywhere close to to double-digit fantasy points, you're thrilled, right? And so Dawson Knox right now, if you just kind of look at him, he's 11th in routes run among all tight ends. And again, kind of, we talk about some of these numbers. Like when it comes to tight ends, that is the number one thing that I pay attention to is routes run and see how many routes they're running. Because obviously that matters for tight ends because, are they an inline blocker? Is that how they're utilizing them? Or they actually let them go out and run around routes? And if you get those opportunities, you're out there running routes, and obviously that can lead to opportunities. And so for me, I like Dawson Knox. Like this is an offense we've talked about that I want to get exposure to because of how much they throw the ball. And in fantasy football, obviously that matters. And so right now, I mean, the Bills are 4th in pass plays per game. But like I said, I mean, he's gotten 12 targets so far this year. He has 2 touchdowns. And so like I said, I mean, he's 11th in routes run for Dawson Knox. So I like Dawson Knox. I think if he's out there, I don't mind that. He's a great matchup against Houston as well.
No, Walito, slow your roll on Jared Everett. He was added to the COVID list. A good call here by Martin. He was getting more of the snap share, and that is Gerald Everett, but he is not quite at that level. So slow your roll there, Walito. Let's go. Hey, Raylan, appreciate you always propping us up. That's why you're one of the GOATs here. Would love if you guys like and subscribe. We just hit 2K subscribers. What was that, last week? Loved that. And we're hoping to continue to grow here as we churn through the rest of this year. Are you starting Hurts or Herbert here for the Flappy Chappas?
It's Justin Herbert. I have Justin Herbert as top 4. I think I'm 4th among all quarterbacks this week. So I like Justin Herbert a lot. Now, Hurts is in play too. We've talked about how bad this Kansas City defense is, and so this is a decent get right spot for Hurts as well. So, but I just cannot surpass. I think this Raider Charger game could be another really high scoring game. And so I just prefer Justin Herbert here against the Raiders.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, honestly, he could be doing so much better than what he has been, just based on some of the touchdowns that the Chargers have had called back. Even this last game against Kansas City, they had a couple. Dallas, they had basically, I think it was 2 or 3 that were called back. So he threw 47 attempts week 1, 41 attempts week 2, 38 was his low game, and he had 4 touchdowns. He's just maybe not quite gotten the touchdowns that we wanted from him, but he could easily already be like a top 3 quarterback if a couple of calls break his way. Literally back-to-back weeks, they've had a touchdown called back on like the line going in motion, 2 people, going in motion at the same time. So just really bad luck. I have him higher than Hurts as well. So it will be Herbert for me. Some more waiver wire pickups here. Conklin, I had a really good week. He's banged up right now. I think he missed practice today. If he missed, I really like KJ Osborne as kind of a sneaky guy there with Minnesota, who is also passing a ton. Evan Ingram, I'm maybe buying in on if I need a tight end, but Knox and Schultz. We talked about Knox. Haven't talked about Schultz, but that's maybe a guy that we should hit on. I have him in my tight end waivers video. He has been playing over Blake Jarwin, getting more of the snaps, more of the targets. And in 2 weeks now, he has gotten 6 and 7 targets, 6 receptions in week 1 and 3. So, again, we're looking for a tight end that's tied to a really good passing offense with a good quarterback. That's Josh Allen for Knox, and that's Dak Prescott for Schultz. I think they're both great waiver options. I saw that Dalvin Cook practiced limitedly today, so I think he will probably be in play. I moved him up. Kev, you and I did the running back rankings just yesterday, and I've already moved him up, I believe, to running back 7. So unlikely. I mean, I'm trying to get Javonte Williams if I can. Qui-Gon, I'm trying to get Javonte Williams on my team. I know maybe the box score doesn't look fantastic. He had the opportunities. We talked about the one fumble on the goal line, got stuffed on another series. But it's a matter of time. We see that sometimes it takes a little bit for these rookie running backs to get that full workload. And I do think it comes for Javonte Williams at some point this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm unless he has a setback, Dalvin Cook is going to play this week. I think there's little doubt of that happening. If he's already back at practice on Wednesday, now I'm sure Wednesdays isn't, it's probably more walkthroughs and everything else. But regardless, if he's out there practicing on a Wednesday, he's going to play. So, for people that added Alexander Madison off the waivers, I think you can still hold them. But in this situation, it's 100% Javonte Williams because he is going to be the starting running back of this team. And the only way Madison gets more opportunities is if Dalvin Cook were to get re-injured or get hurt or later in the year.
A lot of tight end questions here for the early part of our Q&A start sit. Keep the questions coming. We love it. We want this queue to fill up. Jared Cook or Dalton Schultz. For me, this is really close. I just talked about Jared Cook running the 7th most routes, getting over 70% of the target share, the snap share, I should say, at the tight end position there for the Chargers. Which way are you leaning here?
Yeah, I'm going Jared Cook here. I don't mind Dalton Schultz at all, But I just prefer Jared Cook. I have Jared Cook right outside of a tight end 1 this week myself. So.
Yep, I have him at 13 as well. I think Dalton Schultz is good, but if they had a Blake Jarwin game, it wouldn't surprise me. Whereas I know Jared Cook's going to be the guy. Maybe Darnell Parham gets a catch or two, but he is the guy dominating those snaps. Raylan, the answer to your question here is because Aaron Jones is a running back in the NFL. They're all going to be questionable at some point. I don't think it'll be all that serious, but it's something we need to monitor. I honestly haven't looked into this, so
he was just limited today with an ankle. So
okay. I think it's just a Wednesday. When guys take off Wednesday, I'm not that concerned unless they're coming off of an injury in the previous week or, we have heard something serious. If we haven't heard anything and they're missing or questionable on Wednesday, sometimes it's just a veteran rest day. For Joey here, he needs 2 wide receivers and a flex. Woods, Sutton, Boyd, Marvin Jones, or putting Chase Edmonds in the flex against the Rams. What do you got for him?
So Cortland Sutton's an automatic for me. I really like Cortland Sutton this week going against Baltimore. And then it comes – these are tough because I like –
good options.
I don't mind Robert Woods. I know Robert Woods hasn't fired yet, but his time is definitely going to come. And then Tyler Boyd is more interesting with T. Higgins already ruled out this week. So, I think he gets a bump, here. And then you have Marvin Jones. And so I think I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton and then Robert Woods. And then I think I'm going to flex Tyler Boyd.
Damn, this is tough. You and I talked about this where we're going to want to play a lot more of the wide receivers than the running backs just because there's so many questions after you get outside the top 15. Chase Edmonds has some of those questions. We like him in PPR. He catches a lot of passes, but he's definitely capped a little bit with James Conner there, especially if they get ahead in games. That game script flips on him really quickly. This just feels like Robert Woods is going to have a really good game at some point very, very soon. I'm probably going Woods, Sutton, and then really close between Boyd and Edmonds. T. Higgins is out. I think that helps him. I'm going to attack this Jaguars secondary, especially now that they've traded C.J. Henderson. They've been giving up so many points to the wide receiver position. I'm going to go Boyd as well. Make that our first of hopefully a couple more agreements on this show. I think Raylan is agreeing with us. He throws in Marvin Jones there. I think Marvin Jones is fine, just a little bit tougher of a matchup. We like all those guys, honestly. It's close, and I wouldn't hate if you went Marvin Jones as well. Anthony here, he needs 1 flex, half PPR. Miles Sanders, Mitchell, or Sermon. Looks like he maybe has them both, Hollywood and Madison.
Sanders. Well, I'm assuming that's Miles. So, yeah, give me Miles.
Yeah, that would be Miles Sanders, I'm going to guess. Are you worried at all with the lack of work that he got, or was that just bad game script against Dallas?
I think it was just bad game script. I mean, he's playing a lot of snaps. I mean, it's not that problem. I mean, he's playing 65% of the snaps here in this backfield. It was just a really ugly game against Dallas on Monday night. And like I've said, like this Chiefs defense is not very good right now. They cannot stop the run, and they don't have anybody that's going to be able to do that for them. They are getting Willie Gay back, their linebacker, who is super athletic. He runs like a 4.4. But he's always hurt. But like he's still going to be limited, and he's not going to play a full allotment of snaps. He was somebody last year. A lot of people were wondering why he wasn't playing more because of how athletic he is. He's kind of like a Derek Johnson type, if you remember him back whenever he played for the Chiefs at middle linebacker. But they just don't have anybody that's going to be able to stop the run. And so Frank Clark, he's kind of their best run defender, really, on that line, and he's been hurt. He's going to get released after this year. Chris Jones has never really been good against the run. And so I'm not really all that worried. I think Miles Sanders can have one of his better games of the year this week in this matchup against the Chiefs.
Fun fact for you, Kevin Steele. I have driven Derek Johnson's Lambo 2015, drove it a solid 8 feet, moved it from where he parked it and got out to where I moved it up for the parking crew to go park it at a Sporting KC game. I have driven his car. It was back when the turn dials, when the cars first came out, you had to press on the gas, start it, push to start was new. And then it had a dial for the joystick there for the gear shift. So I didn't really know how to work that. I was a little afraid I might wreck it, but I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna stick with Sanders. That offensive line is banged up. That's maybe something to monitor, but Sanders I think is the best option there. Team 2, he needs 2 flex full PPR, Hunt, Edmonds, Julio, who has missed practice. Some concerns he maybe will miss, but we'll keep an eye on that. And then Corey Davis.
I'm going to go with Julio and Edmonds.
If Julio misses, are you pivoting to Hunt there?
Oh, yeah.
I agree with all of that. Question for you, Kev. DGen pod lineup. Did you guys crush last week?
It did actually. It actually did decent. It was pretty good. We had Josh Allen and Emmanuel Sanders stacked, so that really worked out. We had Clyde and who else did we have in that lineup? The other running, Austin Eckler, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's who it was, and he did really well. And so it was a pretty solid lineup. We had the Bengals, who I think scored like 12.
Same. Yep.
Really, we had a couple of duds on there that if we would have made just a few different pivots, it would have really went off. We had Hawkinson. That's right. And I was like, how the fuck? We have TJ Hawkinson, and killed us. And so had we just really flipped it, I believe, and went DeAndre Swift and Mark Andrews, that lineup would have killed. And we had Marquise Brown in that lineup. That's what we had. It was Marquise Brown on Hawk. And, man, Marquise Brown
the
so
football
close to having double 2 touchdowns in that game. So that lineup did really well last week for the DJ Nation pod, which we will be going live tomorrow night.
Tune in. Qui-Gon looking to trade Ridley to see if he can improve here. Mike Williams and JT for Ridley and a few other recourses.
I think he meant resources.
I think so. I just wanted to make sure. Me reading these questions, I always struggle a little bit more than Cody.
So I don't mind doing that, honestly. I think you can. Mike Williams is not going to continue to play at the level that he's playing, but I still think he can be a solid wide receiver 3 from here on out. And I think Jonathan Taylor is eventually going to figure this out, right? This offense. Some things to remember about this offense, though, is that obviously this is Carson Wentz's first year. Carson Wentz missed a significant portion of training camp and preseason and all that time to kind of get familiar with this offense, get on the same page as everybody. And it's just kind of been a disastrous start for these guys, right? And so I think eventually this offense is going to kind of get on track and get going. And so I don't mind doing that. Getting a guy like JT and Mike Williams for Ridley, I don't mind that at all.
James Robinson, CH, or Chuba. I'm going to go CH. I know Chuba's going to be in a lot of our questions, especially on our Sunday morning, pre-show. I got to stick with CEH. I know people were really worried about him after a couple of weeks, but he is getting the snaps. I know you attested to this. He's on a top offense with Patrick Mahomes. He has been getting the snaps, and I think most weeks he's going to see 12 to 16 touches on the ground, and he hasn't been as involved as we wanted him to in the past, but we saw him catch 2 passes. I think it was only 9 yards, but did find the end zone. This is CH for me. The Jaguars are actually only running like 20 times per game. They're like the 3rd or 4th lowest in the NFL. I did like seeing James Robinson finally, get back a little bit more towards the James Robinson of 2020, but I'm still going to stick with CH here.
Yeah, it's just one. I'm going to go CH.
And then between Cooper and Godwin, we talked about earlier, I'm really going to ride Godwin this week. I think he is going to be a big part of Tom Brady trying to break that pass record. I'm going Godwin over Cooper. Scrolling. Should I drop Sony Michel for Chuba Hubbard?
Yes.
Agree there. Yes, Walito, on our way to 3,000. The climb begins. Evans or Chase at flex?
Oh, this is tough. Ramon, who are you starting at wide receiver? That is a deep wide receiver group. If you're having to decide between flexing Mike Evans or Jamar Chase, I would probably go Evans, but I really don't mind Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has played really, really well. I think you could make a strong argument he has a much better matchup against Jacksonville.
Yep.
And And so I think it's close. I lean towards Mike Evans, but if you want to go Jamar Chase, I'm not mad at it, and I assume you're going to go Jamar Chase.
I want to, but I think I brought up the stat at the very top of the show. The Bengals are only throwing 25 times per game. Now, I do think that improves as the year goes on. I don't think that's who they are. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are basically doubling their pass attempts each and every week. So if you're telling me that the Bucs are going to throw 47 times per game, which is what they're averaging, if they're somewhere around 47, and the Bengals, let's say the Bengals even get up to 30 pass attempts, man, that's 17 more going around. And I get they have more mouths to feed. Especially with Higgins out, it makes Chase more enticing. They're very close for me. I'd have to look at the rankings. I bet I have Evans slightly ahead. Evans 23. Oh, I do have Jamar ahead. Ugh. I'm going to stick with Chase. I'm going to keep riding those touchdowns. It's never good to chase touchdowns, but when it's Jamar Chase, I will do it. CH or James Robinson. You're muted. CH or James Robinson again. I'm going to stick with CH. I believe you were on CH as well. Did you have something to say on that last one?
No, I just was reading his last comment from Ramon where it said targets for Chase is my biggest concern, and I was just saying, right, it's not so much the targets because I think his target share is still really high. It's the fact that the volume is so low. And so there's not as many targets to go around in this offense right now, which is also why we're seeing Joe Mixon get touch squeezed, right, in terms of targets. They just haven't had to open it up and really do anything like that because like I said, they've kind of been in control of a lot of these games. Which is something not something that I think a lot of people expected to see this year with the Bengals. I think people thought the Bengals offense could be really good, but probably had a lot of concerns with their defense. Right now, their defense has played really good, but it is still a short sample size. This is only 3 weeks of the year, right? So we're not going to go overboard and think that all of a sudden the Bengals defense is elite, but it's certainly something to monitor and just kind of keep an eye on. And so I think overall, for me, why it's so close with Chase is because of the fact that Higgins is out. And so you really narrow down the distribution of who's going to get targeted because their tight end is what? Uzoma or Drew Sample or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
They have nobody there. And so, yeah.
Michael, this was CH for us.
Yeah, CH, yeah.
You know, we talked about this a little bit on the running backs ranking show. I think if Elijah Mitchell is healthy, which he practiced this week, he practiced today, I should say. I'm gonna go Elijah Mitchell as kind of that 1A to lead the backfield. Honestly, Harrison, it just didn't look like they trusted Trey Sermon, right? They didn't give him a ton of carries in the first half. They were, giving the ball to Kyle Juszczyk. They were doing Debo on end arounds. They gave George Kittle a carry. He was actually the yardage leader in rushing with 9 yards rushing in the first half. Now, I will say that Sermon looked a little bit better in the second half, ripped off a nice 16-yard run, started to kind of look a little bit better. But honestly, I just think he looked timid, and I think that's going to be something he needs to shake off as his first NFL start. So it's going to be Elijah Mitchell, the 1A for me, with Trey Sermon as the 1B. I do think maybe their split narrows and comes closer together as the year goes on. But for week 4, it's going to be Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, it is a little concerning with him. And who knows? Maybe he's not as good as some people thought he was. I don't know. He couldn't beat out Ramondre Stevenson at Oklahoma, and he had to transfer. So, hopefully he gets on track. Right? A lot of people's drafts are relatively high.
Yep. He's definitely got to step it up. I hope he's not another Rojo side in my thorn in my side. That would be another frustrated 2 or 3 years for me. Tight ends again here. We have Jared Cook for Johnny Smith. I think Johnny Smith is absolutely droppable. He's getting beat out on his own team by Hunter Henry. So this is Jared Cook for sure. This one's a really interesting question because I think we have a safe floor type of guy in Hunter Renfro who did find the end zone this week, but most weeks he's going to give you, 5 catches, 55, 60 yards. Christian Kirk is more of that boom guy. He is a fantastic ADOT to a lot of people's chagrin. He was what they wanted Rondale Moore to be, and he is leading in snaps over Rondale Moore. AJ Green also had a good week. I think Hopkins, another week removed from his injury, hopefully is better, but this is Christian Kirk between these two for me. Traded. Go ahead.
That was tough for me. Because like I mentioned, Hunter Renfro has been very, very consistent so far to start this season. Right now, he's He's basically putting up numbers to be a middle of the road wide receiver 3 right now. I mean, he scored, like I said yesterday, he scored double-digit fantasy points in every game that he's played in so far. This offense continues to throw. They're the second. They've had the second most pass attempts per game on the season, and that's not going to change this week. I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball a ton. And I think some of his targets have come in despite the, and I guess in the face of Darren Waller a little bit, because Darren Waller had that monster game where he had 19 targets. And then the last 2 games, I think he's had 7 apiece. So I don't mind Hunter Renfro. This is not a great matchup for Christian Kirk. The Rams secondary is really good. He's going to see some of Jalen Ramsey for sure. And so I think it's really close here. Man.
I think what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get with Hunter Renfro, right? Most weeks, you're not going to get that touchdown. He's not a high touchdown guy, so I'm not going to bank on a touchdown at all. Christian Kirk has shown that he can. He's much more boom or bust, where I completely agree. But if you're throwing one of these guys in your flex, if you want to play it safe, absolutely. Hunter Renfro is probably going to get you, 8 to 12 PPR points. Probably not much more in most weeks, and maybe not much less. But Christian Kirk, I think, it has the much higher upside play that I'm going to swing for the fence. When I'm putting guys into my flex, I'm swinging for the upside play.
Yeah, I think you can do that. That's fine.
Yep. Linebacker traded away CH, James White, and Shark for Keenan Allen and Tony Jones. So really, I mean, a lot of these are meh for me. It's really CH for Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and I think you did really well there.
I agree.
Especially when James White is going to – I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But.
Out for the season there.
Oh, I did not see that. Okay, well, that's J.J. Taylor season.
Right. If Henderson doesn't play, are you rolling out Sony in probably a much better matchup than going against the Bucs? Robbie Anderson, who has been just a massive disappointment. Cooks or Jamal Williams, half PPR.
It's not Sony. I can take him off the list.
Because Darrell Henderson did practice, so I don't think we really need to consider. Yeah, so if you have Henderson also, I don't know if he has Henderson here. Maybe he doesn't. That's the only reason why Sony's in consideration. If you had Henderson, I think I'm playing Henderson against Arizona, who's been really bad against running backs. If not, man, this could be the week that Cooks bust. But I think I've sat him enough where the target share could still be there, even if they only throw 25 times for 150 yards. We could see him get 115 of those yards. I'm going to go Cooks here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cooks too.
Darnold or Tannehill?
This is Darnold for me. I don't think the Titans throw the ball. I think it's very much similar to what the Broncos did last week, where they don't really open it up all that much.
Yeah.
Very limited, and they just let Derrick Henry just crush this game. So it's Sam Darnold for me.
Going against the Jets, I don't think he'll have his top 2 weapons, which makes him not the same Ryan Tannehill that we've seen in previous years. So I think that's something to monitor. If he is missing those 2 guys, I think I'll probably go Darnold with you. If he has at least one of those guys, I think I'm going to go Tannehill. I think they can do enough damage in the first half. This Jets secondary is horrendous, and they just lost Marcus May, one of their better players on defense. He's a safety for them. So it's tough not to like a quarterback going against the Jets. If he has one of his options, I'm going to go Tannehill. Nice. What?
Alexis in here with the super chat. Pick one, full PPR, Mike Davis, Zach Moss, Peyton Barber. And I'm guessing that's Jamal Williams.
Guys, the Williams. I think they're putting Javonte. This is what I kind of noticed. If it's Javonte, they're putting Javonte. If it's Jay Williams, he hasn't earned that right to just get Jamal. He's Jay Williams.
Okay.
For
it's Zach Moss, no matter what. It's for me. It doesn't really matter which one it is. It's Zach Moss. Like I said, I have him as an RB2 this week. Low end RB2, but I still have him as an RB2.
Yeah, man. I think you're right. I think it goes back to what you said about the Bills. Like, do they ever just turn to the run in the second half if they are destroying? I already forgot who their opponent is, but it's a really good
The
matchup.
Texans.
The Texans, if they're destroying them, it's probably Moss. Mike Davis in a PPR, though, he's been catching just a ton of passes. If he can do anything on the ground, Mike Davis would be fantastic play, but he just can't do anything on the ground. That's the big problem here. Man, now we lost our spot here. This is where Cody is so clutch because when you jump into these super chats, he just knows right where we left off. I have no idea. Let's find. Here we go. I got it. Get out of here.
No, you skipped this one.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, because it was Darnold or Tannehill. And then, trying to,
keep in order. Yes.
Yeah.
Good work.
Start Tyreek or Metcalf or Kupp or Mike Williams. Pick 3. Okay, so we're locking in Kupp for sure. We're locking in Tyreek for sure. So it comes down to it's DK Metcalf. Shame we have to do it. Sorry, Big Mike. But we're sitting Mike Williams. Or at least I am. I don't know about you. I want to speak for you.
Man, you got to trade Mike Williams while he's hot right now. This is the perfect type of lineup where you do this. You have Hill, you have Metcalf, you have Cooper Kupp. I don't think Mike Williams should be on your team come Sunday. Trade him. Maybe you don't need help at some of these other positions, but you have plenty of firepower at your wide receiver position. I agree. Hill, Metcalf, Kupp. Gosh, it sucks to sit Mike Williams right now, but he's definitely the sit for me.
Well, but it's kind of what I talked about last night. That's why I'm a little bit lower on him. I mean, you still have him as a wide receiver 3, but I think he's going to see a lot of Casey Hayward. And Casey Hayward has been absolutely elite this year. Like, he has been a true shutdown corner so far this year for the Raiders. And so that's who his matchup is going to be this week. So I still think you're definitely probably playing him. But I also definitely agree. If you're still in here, like, are you hurting at running back? Because it looks like you went wide receiver early. If you are, I would definitely look to package Mike Williams and get something for him, because his value is not going to be any higher than it is right now, right? He is absolutely crushed the last couple of weeks of the season. And so I definitely would be looking to move Mike Williams if you can.
What are you doing here for Anthony? Gaskin, Rondell Moore, Patterson, and Chuba.
I'm going to go with Chuba here. With him, he's going to, we saw last week. I mean, he's not just getting the opportunities out of the backfield. He's also getting the targets as well. He led this team in targets. He led the team in snaps. I think he was 38-10, I think is what it was to him and Royce Freeman. And so I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard. I like Rondell Moore. It's not time to drop him after one bad week. I know that kind of is what happens when somebody has a down week a little bit. But, I'm not starting Cordell Patterson over Chuba Hubbard. And I think Myles Gaskin is close, but I probably just prefer a little bit more in Hubbard, where I think this is going to be a little bit more of a shootout.
I'm going to go Hubbard as well. He kind of took not all of those pass catches that we'd see CMC get, but he appeared to have the 1A job over Royce Freeman. I do think Royce Freeman will mix in there a little bit more than people want. I think a lot of people are really rolling out Chuba Hubbard kind of as this Mike Davis. I can lock and load, start him as a running back too. I'm not quite there with Chuba. I definitely want to see how they mix with him and Royce Freeman. Let's take out the two better options of that and just have Patterson and Rondell Moore. I'm going to go Patterson here.
I'm gonna go Rondell Moore.
Yeah,
I think in this matchup against LA, they're gonna have to get a little more creative with some of these guys. But we talked about DeAndre Hopkins. This isn't a game where they're gonna be able to run the ball and do all the stuff that they kind of did last week against the Jaguars. They're gonna have to open things back up, and I think you see Rondell Moore probably come in and get more around the 6 to maybe 5 to 7 range in terms of targets, and I think you probably get some carries and stuff like that. So give me Rondell Moore for me.
It's funny because what you just said about Rondell Moore, you know who's going to get 6 to 8 targets and get even more carries? Cordero Patterson, because Matt Ryan is not throwing the ball down the field at all. So honestly, this is going to be Patterson for me. I don't love either, and I hate what they're doing with Cordero Patterson. I want that offense to throw down the field a little bit more, get Pitts involved, get Ridley back to what we saw in 2020. Let Mike Davis have more of that running back share, but Cordero Patterson's mucking it up, pissing people off, but he's the pick for me here. Myers, Woods, Tim Patrick. This is going to be Woods, although I do like these other two guys. Myers saw 15 targets. That's fantastic. They're really good flexes, but Robert Woods is closer to that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 borderline for me. He is the pick here, and I believe he is for you as well. Starting Eckler and Chubb, but we got to pick a flex, Gibson or Chuba. That's Gibson for me.
Yep.
Patrick, Kirk, AB for the flex.
I'm going AB.
I'm going AB as well. I do like Tim Patrick this week, but AB, as we said in the previous question, where these guys were both involved, AB just a little bit higher on that upside play. Should I keep Madison on the bench? Yeah. Kareem Hunt and Carson should be your starting running backs. You're not starting Madison or Jamal Williams over them. Looks like Dalvin Cook will play.
Yep.
Man, are we asking this question? Is Stafford playing that well where you would start him over Kyler Murray? No. Love Stafford. Playing fantastic. Trade him. You don't need to, Joey. Trade him. Kyler Murray.
I don't know. It depends on who you ask. I think Cody actually has Stafford above Kyler Murray this week.
Why? Oh, I guess you're worried about the Rams. Kyler can get it done on the ground, though. You know what I mean? Like if he's
that's
not
100%. That's why I cannot put those guys like him below, guys like Stafford, because Stafford doesn't bring anything there. Now Stafford can throw 5 touchdowns. That's certainly in the range of possible.
Sure.
As well. But it's just that rushing upside. The lowest I've gotten right now, and that's on Lamar Jackson, where I think I have Lamar Jackson like 11 or 12. And that's mainly because they're playing an elite level defense and two teams that really want to run the football. So it's going to be a very slow paced game. And so for Lamar Jackson to get there, he's going to have to rush for 100 yards. And so I don't think he'd throw very much.
Dynasty question from Nathan here. I would trade. I'm a big David Montgomery fan, but I think I would trade him and Ruggs for Jonathan Taylor. I'm not a big Ruggs guy. I never have been. I think he's going to have boom weeks, bust weeks. I don't think you're ever going to know for sure what you're going to get from him week to week. So I would make that move for Jonathan Taylor. I think that's an upgrade from Montgomery. Oh, boy. This is where it gets fun. This is where the running backs get fun. Uzi having a question with Ingram, Royce Freeman, Peyton, Barber. Josh Jacobs is probably coming back. I haven't seen anything on Josh Jacobs.
If Josh Jacobs is out, which obviously I guess you'll have to rule out Mark Ingram because they play tomorrow. Because I'm not playing Mark Ingram against
Bengals.
Against the Bills. It ain't happening.
Martin says it correctly.
Yeah, for sure, right? But I mean, so if Josh Jacobs plays, is JJ Taylor sitting out there?
Oh, I don't know if I can do that, man.
Like I think he's going to be the pass catcher. I know Brandon Bolden did the pinch last week, but I think it's JJ Taylor is going to be the pass catching running back in this backfield. He was an excellent pass catcher in college, and so I think JJ Taylor in 12-team leagues is PPR formats is kind of a low key a solid ad because I think he could end up playing that James White role this year for them. Where he's just strictly utilized as a pass catcher. But and this is a tough matchup, right? Against Tampa, and a game that's going to have so much emotion going into it between everybody involved. But I do think JJ Taylor, if Josh Jacobs came back, I'm not playing Peyton Barber, and I'm not playing Mark Ingram, and you're not going to have the opportunity because we're going to wait and see on that. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Royce Freeman. And so I would probably venture to try to find somebody else because I just don't think any of them are great options.
What do you think about this name?
But if you absolutely had to, it would be Royce Freeman.
What do you think about this name, Kyle Juszczyk? I know we're
going fullback. We're going fullback.
Are we going to start a fullback? I don't know, man. He gets a couple catches. He has a good potential to get a rushing touchdown. Now, Elijah Mitchell comes back. Do they completely just say, hey, we're done giving him carries? I think there is a chance there. But at that point, you might as well start Mark Ingram, who you is probably going to get 6 to 8 carries. Man, that's tough. I might start Mark Ingram. I don't know if they can stay in this game long enough for Mark Ingram to get the 6 to 8 carries. But even if Peyton Barber is the back, he's splitting with Kenyon Drake. I get it. He had a ton of work. He was fantastic for the first time in his life. It's ugly. I'm going Mark Ingram, but we need to move on to a new question.
If Josh Jacobs is out, it is 100% Peyton Barber. But because this Charger defense is terrible, it's just I don't know what's going to happen there, and I think there's a shot that Josh Jacobs could return. So
Chargers defense wasn't that terrible against Patrick Mahomes.
Their rush defense is.
Would you trade Jerry Jeudy for Elijah Mitchell? Definitely needs an upgrade at running back too. I think you can do this. I mean, I don't love it. Jerry Jeudy is the better player for me, but I can't start Latavius Murray as my running back too.
Who else do you have on your team? What's the rest of your team look like? That's what I would want to know.
Harrison, I'll keep an eye out, do the best I can to kind of find that here. Let us know who else you have on your team so we can see if there's a better person to choose from here. I do like Jerry Jeudy, but I do think you're going to need running back help before it is too late. Jerry Jeudy, we're probably not expecting back for, at least a handful of weeks. Pick 2 here: Montgomery, Robinson, Chuba, Madison, Jamar. These are all running backs. I don't know who that is.
Maybe it's supposed to be Jamal.
That's what I'm thinking. Like if it was Jamar, I'm going to assume that's Jamal. So I'm going to go Monty
and Robinson.
I agree. Thank you for giving me that little push over the edge. Love it. Cup for Ridley and Ruggs. No for me.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I think Ridley will get better, but I think we've seen Cooper Kupp level up. And shout out to you. You had Kupp preseason as a wide receiver 1 coming in as wide receiver 12 overall for you. I had Kupp high as well, not quite as high as you. So I think the gap from Kupp to Ridley, especially seeing, I get it's only 3 weeks, we're trying not to super overreact, but we've seen enough where I don't know if we see Matt Ryan throw down the field as much as we'd like to, nearly as much as he did in 2020. That's kind of out of the question. So I think you're just downgrading it. And Ruggs is a non-factor for me. I think, like I said just before, I never know when to start him. Trade question here: CMC, McLaurin, Mark Ingram for Devontae, Jamal Williams, Mike Davis.
No.
Yep, you got to keep CMC, McLaurin.
Yeah, you're giving up way too much.
Brandon Cooks for Monty. Adams, DJ Moore, Chase, Cooks, Shepard, Shark. Yeah, I think this is a really good sell high. Dave Montgomery, he's not always going to be fantastic because the offensive line sucks. Questions at quarterback. So he's going to have some dud weeks where you're like, man, this guy shouldn't even be a running back too. But he's also going to have weeks where he just still gets 18 to 20 carries, catches 3 or 4 or 5 footballs, and just is a running back 1 just because of the volume. So I think this is a fantastic trade and a sell high on Brandon Cooks for Evan.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Ooh, maybe I skipped something here. I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Let's keep rolling down, man. A lot of people trying to help the tough running back situation we saw. I think that was from Uzi. Jefferson or Ridley? Jefferson and Ridley. Oh man, I thought that was an or. Would you drop Sermon, Mitchell, or Madison for Jamal Williams?
I think you could drop Madison for Jamal Williams. I mean, Jamal Williams is going to have a role he's going to be involved in that offense on a weekly basis. And I think he's going to always be a viable flex, especially once we start getting into bye weeks. Madison's role only is ever going to come into play is if something happens to Dalvin Cook, which happens every year, which has already happened once this year, and it's probably going to happen again. And so I don't love getting rid of Madison just because I think I like having him as a flat or as a stash. And we don't really know what to make of Sermon and Mitchell right now to be able to say you could drop one of them. So if I was going to do it, it would be for Madison. It would be Madison because Jamal Williams shouldn't be available.
Yep, I agree. Going back to Harrison's question on who he can trade here, here's the lineup. Are you trading anybody else to try and acquire Elijah Mitchell? Could you get Kirk? Could you sell high on Kirk? I don't know. I don't know if anybody would go for that. I don't think. I don't think they would. I think I'm doing it. I don't want to know what the rest of the running back looks like. Rest of the running back room looks like. I know he has CMC, so this is really that's another thing we should probably remember that this is just a temporary situation. He said he just traded for CMC, so this is a maybe he misses CMC for 2 weeks. Then he'll have Henry and CMC most weeks, so maybe he's not even starting Mitchell at that point. So that is something to consider.
Wait, he said he traded for CMC?
Yeah. Or sorry, no, that was Uzi. That was the reason why he was having to start Ingram, the Ingram Freeman. No, I lied.
No, that's what I thought. I thought
different question.
we'd asked him who else was on his team.
Yep.
Because the reason I wanted to see if you had a piece where he could level up in multiple different ways. Because I don't mind trading for Elijah Mitchell, but I just don't know if that's going to be somebody on a weekly basis that you're going to be able to trust. But if all you have is Latavius Murray, then yeah, I think you pull the trigger because Jerry Jeudy's out for probably at least another 3 or 4 weeks. And so by that point, you don't really have the opportunity, right? Like you can't be out here starting Latavius Murray every week as your RB2. It's that or like what's available on free agency. Is there anybody out there that's because I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, what could you realistically do to upgrade and maybe get like a much bigger name? And I think you could trade Darren Waller, and get a really strong RB2 at that point because as of right now, I mean, at least for the last couple of weeks, we've seen the Raiders kind of spread the ball around a little bit more. It's not just the Darren Waller show. Not now, again, it's a very small sample size, so I'm not going to say that Darren Waller is going to all of a sudden only get 5 targets a game. But what made Darren Waller so appealing was the idea that he was going to see 140 targets again this year, kind of like with Travis Kelce, and getting that kind of volume. Now, if he's not, and let's say he drops down to 120, really still a strong season for him. But like if you're really desperate for that number 2 running back, like I think I would maybe move a guy like Darren Waller, and it depends on who you go after. Like if you could get I don't think maybe TJ Hawkinson. Maybe you do a package, right? And you maybe you go after a TJ Hawkinson to be involved in the trade. And then if a guy has like Miles Sanders or CEH probably isn't the best option because of him, the season's or the week he's coming off of. Or maybe you could CEH something like that, and maybe just package something together because I don't think Elijah Mitchell's enough. I guess is what I'm getting at. I think what you're going to end up running into, he's an upgrade over Latavius Murray, yes, but I don't think it's enough. I think you have a solid team. I think your wide receivers are really good. But I think I would rather try to package something together to get maybe some pieces here and get a really solid RB2.
Yep. Shoot a little higher, Harrison, if you can. Matt, love it. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate it. Kev, what are we doing here with Miles Sanders? We talked about it a little bit here. The workload was a little bit concerning against Dallas. He's not going to be the guy that's going to get you, 16 to 20 carries. He's not quite that guy in this offense. I'm a little bit worried about the line. So he's going to be kind of one of those running back 2s where some weeks you hate that you start him, but some weeks he's going to be a running back 1. He's kind of in that same realm as David Montgomery for me. So I'm not doing anything with him yet. I'm still rolling him out there as a starter. Do you have anything different on that?
I think you're playing. I think you're playing Miles Sanders. It's kind of, what we've talked about with him. And so far this year, he's still getting 60% of the opportunities in this backfield, playing 65% of the snaps. Last week was just a really bad game script game. And so he kind of got game scripted out of it a little bit. The week before that against San Francisco, it was an ugly game for them as well. But the week before that against Atlanta, we saw him have a really solid game. He's seeing targets, and so that is a positive. Kenny Gainwell is going to affect him a little bit in terms of the pass catching upside that he's going to have. But I still think there's going to be a lot more. There's a lot more goodness coming from Miles Sanders, excuse me. And so, like I said, I think it starts this week. I think this is a great matchup for him this week, going against this Kansas City defense. So I like Miles Sanders, and I think you should feel pretty confident with starting him this week.
Santiago has a question. Would you trade Cole Beasley for Chuba?
I mean, I think you could. People have to. This is the thing with Chuba, right? This is such a short-term injury. Like,
very short.
They did not put him on IR. And so let's look at what we talked about on the waiver show, right? Was the fact that with McCaffrey going down, right? Like on Thursday, it gives him that extra time. Like it really wouldn't shock me if he only misses this week and he is back next week, because he will have that extra time from the Thursday on, right? So he gets that extra time in there to be able to get right. So it's possible that he only misses one game. At most, it's probably going to be 2 games. Okay. And so if you could get something for Chuba Hubbard, go for it. Unless you're absolutely desperate at running back and you need something, then I am moving Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't
in this scenario, also go ahead. I'll say what I gotta say.
I just think the one thing is how often Cole Beasley can crack your starting lineup. Sanders is mixing in now, so that I think that leaves a little bit more doubt for me of how often I'm going to be able to trust Cole Beasley. But we haven't hit bye weeks, and I think that's when a Cole Beasley is much more flex worthy when we have those bye weeks, because he's a guy that I can trust that's going to get volume. He's out there for every snaps, on a good offense, good quarterback. So that's where I'm looking past this 1 or 2 weeks. If I knew for sure that CMC was going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, I think sometimes it's worth it to get that running back, because like we saw earlier, he might be having to start a Royce Freeman or Latavius Murray or somebody like that, and maybe that's worth it. But most likely this is going to be Beasley for me.
Yeah, and something that I think that I've kind of already started to see this week from a lot of people is the real concern that their team is 1-2 or 0-3, right? And people are freaking out about it and wanting to make these drastic changes to their teams. And I've seen a lot of teams that just had bad luck. Like they have really good teams, they just have had bad luck. Well, to me, what matters more, I think, one, keep into consideration now we have an extra week, right? So, and to me, it's more like you're 0-2, because now we have that extra week to be able to kind of recover from it. And I think if you have a really solid team, and it's just there's been a lot of times when you see. How often do you see guys that they've scored the second or third most points in the league, but they're 0-3, right?
Yep.
Like it's just bad luck. Like sometimes fantasy football, it's just a bad fucking luck. And you see it on the flip side where the guy who's went 3-0 has scored like the third fewest points in the league, right? It just so happens that way, right? There's nothing worse in fantasy football whenever you have a week when you score like 170 points, you just crush, and you play the one guy in the league. It almost seems to happen every time. And you play the one guy who scores 180, but the rest of your league did nothing that week, and that's the guy you play. So a lot of it's just luck. Like you have to wait this out. We haven't even got to bye weeks yet, right? And I guess that's what I was trying to get at with this, is that bye weeks, the team who has the most depth is going to be the team that's probably going to come out of bye weeks the best. Because if you don't have depth and you start losing those key pieces and you're inserting these terrible handcuffs that you've been holding on to who are getting no action whatsoever, you're going to be in trouble.
Raylan always coming in with the random question to keep us on our toes. If we won the lottery today, what will be your first purchase? I'm going to get somebody to help me finish this house. I am terrible at home projects. You see these closet doors behind me. One's busted. I have not taken the time to get it fixed. I'm going to pay for somebody to help me fix the rest of this new house that I bought in April. Just get it exactly how we need it. That it would be my first purchase. Kev, how about you?
If you won the lottery, you would stay in the same house?
Oh yeah. I'm that very fiscal conservative guy. Like I'm gonna put it in certain stocks. I'm going to pay off debt, not upgrading car. I think eventually probably would, but nope.
Let's say you won $100 million. You wouldn't buy a new house?
Man, the stress of that right now, like I guess you have a bunch of money, you're probably not working right, but it's tough. I just went through the buying a house process. It's like I guess I would hire somebody.
Yeah, but now you just make it rain.
You are my realtor. You're taking care of all of this. You take care of my paperwork. Yeah, that's fair enough. I could do it.
I think the first purchase for me, actually, that would be something that it would actually be, I would build a baseball field in my backyard so I could have baseball practice with my 11U team in my backyard. I
Oh,
would build a field with an indoor facility so we could practice in the winter, and that's what I would buy. That would be the first thing that I would buy. That was the first thing that I would do.
love it. All right, we are behind. Even without Cody, we still managed to get behind. I think that means it's our fault. Let's go a little speed here. CH Sutton, Corey Davis, AB. I don't know if this is probably just one.
Yeah, at the flex.
These are great flexes. Good God. CH for me.
I'm gonna go Cortland Sutton. I don't mind CEH. If you want to go CH, I don't mind that. But I think it would be Cortland Sutton for me.
Guy has a lot of Seahawks on his team, which has been good so far. Russ, Carson, DK looking to trade Carson, upgrade. He has Deontay, Pittman, Fuller, Kirk, DJ Moore. It's a 10-man league looking to trade.
I'd probably trade Chris Carson.
Yeah, he's saying trade Carson and maybe a wide receiver and upgrade. So would you go like Carson and can you sell high on Christian Kirk with Carson and upgrade to maybe? Man, Carson's just so safe for me. Like I was about to say like CEH or one of those. I don't know if I'm taking.
I think you could possibly, if you did it this well, it's tough because you don't have much time. But I was going to say you might be able to get Mixon because I think depending on how people feel about him,
maybe
with him struggling each of the last couple of weeks, I think that could be Jonathan Taylor. I think could definitely be
that's a name. That's the name
that you could definitely go after. I want to say Antonio Gibson, but I don't know. Like he's coming off a pretty strong week, or a decent with
one play, right?
No, but that's the thing though. People like they don't care. They look at how many fantasy points they scored, right? And so
which is bad for him in this situation, but
because he had the 70-yard touchdown, which buoys his week. But I think Jonathan Taylor would be where I think that you could definitely look at.
Okay, standard league, they're starting Eckler and Chubb, and looking to pick 2 wide receivers and a flex. I'm going
Allen Robinson.
Man, we keep going Allen Robinson, and we need him to hit for us. They have the Lions this week, so gosh, come on, Allen Robinson, we need you. I'm going to go Debo as well, and then probably Chuba Cooks. Give me Cooks.
I'm gonna go Chuba.
Yeah, it's very close. You could talk me into it if we had more time. I'm fine either way. Bears defense or Carolina? Carolina gets Dallas. Bears against the Lions.
Yeah, it's Bears.
Yep. Ramon, it's weak at tight end here. Someone has Hawkinson and Pitts. What combination of Gordon, Debo, Evans, Chase would you make to try and get to one of these tight ends? I think Pitts is much more attainable.
I mean, Hawkinson's coming off like a week, not a great week either, but
are you trying? Here's my question, real quick. I know we're trying to go speed around, but real quick, are you trying to move a running back or wide receiver asset to get Pitts, or should you just stream at that point? I know we've had these high expectations for Pitts, but is he that much better with what we've seen so far? And even if he is a little bit better than a Jared Cook, than a Dawson Knox that you mentioned, most weeks, I think you can get pretty close to what Pitts is going to give you, and you don't lose one of these options.
Yeah, I'm not trading Chris Carson for Kyle Pitts. Like, I'm not doing it.
No, none of the starters. I wasn't even looking at the starters. I'm looking at maybe Melvin Gordon, but you have to add something to that, and I don't want to add Debo, Mike Evans, Chase. Yeah,
I can't do that. I don't want to trade any of those guys. Like,
no, because then you're hurting.
Just stream tight ends. And I know people might say, well, there's no tight ends available. Well, eventually these guys are going to start getting dropped. Because like I said, bye weeks is where people are going to start dropping players because they can no longer hold. They're going to have to switch guys out and stuff like that. So you'll start to see some of these teams that are holding 2 or 3 tight ends start to drop. So just stream tight end.
Ooh, I think I might have skipped around here again. Let's go. Yeah, Uzi's asking, would we trade Carson for Pitts? I mean, I wouldn't. I think then you're hurting at running back.
Oh, this was the wait. He's the one that said that he had Latavius, right?
Scrolling. I don't know how Cody does this. Yeah, we're already there. Some of the comments won't even show anymore.
I'm pretty sure this is the same team. Yeah, because I asked him what his team was, and because I wanted to know who he had. But if you have Zach Moss, I think you're okay. Like Zach Moss, actually, at least for this week, you should be starting Zach Moss over Latavius Murray.
Yeah, I'd say most.
He does need help at running back. Don't get me wrong. You need help at running back for sure, right?
Right.
Wait, because I don't remember David Montgomery being a part of that either.
I don't either. I think maybe that's a little different. So, if you're still with us, re-ask the question. We are rookies. Normally, Cody is handling the questions here. Gibson, man, the touches is the thing for him because if he doesn't have that 73-yard run, he is a dud in week 3. Here's the thing. I want to trust the talent over situation, Sam. I think situation changes so much because we went into the year, Myles Gaskin, nobody else is going to get the touches. Mike Davis, nobody else is going to get the touches. And we see them splitting backfields with nobodies. Malcolm Browns, Cordero Patterson. Gibson on the other side has the talent, but maybe not the situation that we want right now. I think situations change more than the talent. I'm going to trust Gibson. I do think he will get more touches.
Yeah, but he's getting 73% of the opportunities in his backfield. So
there's not a lot of opportunities in that backfield right now. That's just the tough part.
No, and but I will say this: their schedule is going to start to open up a little bit more, look a little bit better. They've had some kind of, if you look, Buffalo's defense is really good. Obviously, the Chargers' defense isn't anything to be overly concerned about, but he was decent that game. But then, the week before against the Giants are a little bit more of a slow-paced team as well. And so, I think Antonio Gibson is going to be fine. And so, I think you should feel pretty good about him.
I am starting Mike Williams here. I know you're a little bit lower on Mike Williams. Are you starting Cooks or Pittman over him?
Oh, no, this is Mike Williams.
Okay. Need 3, half PPR, Beasley, Chase, Cooper, A.J. Brown, Fuller, Shenault. I'm going to act as if A.J. Brown is out because if he's in, A.J. Brown's going to be one of my 3. But if he's out, Cooper, Chase, Beasley.
I'm going to go, Chase, Cooper, and then, 100%. If A.J. Brown's playing, you're playing him. But if not, I think I would agree, Beasley.
Yep. Flex PPR, AJ Green back from the dead, DJ Chark or Ruggs. He has Kyler Murray. What are you thinking from Mr. Wong here? For me, it's kind of tough because obviously these 3 guys, I'm not trying to flex if I can. AJ Green did have a good week, but honestly, he's been super inefficient. He actually caught almost all of his targets. Might have had just one incompletion when it was targeted his way. So I'm really not trying to chase Green. I'm going to actually go DJ Chark here. We talked about Marvin Jones, but DJ Chark has been getting a decent volume in his own right. This Jacksonville team is throwing a ton. I think they're one of the top 10 defenses in pass attempts. They're bottom 4 in rush attempts. So they're throwing a ton. I'm going to go DJ Chark because all 3 of these guys have big playability. If you think AJ Green can still do it, I'm going to go Chark.
Yeah, I agree.
Tim Patrick, James Robinson. This is going to be Robinson for me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to stream either of these guys right now, the Cowboys or the Packers. Cowboys have been fantastic with turnovers, which has been why their defense looks really, really good. Packers, I feel like, are hit or miss. I'm actually looking at Bengals are going to be out there available for you. I like them against the Jaguars. The Titans are not a fantastic defense, but they get the Jets, who you want to find a team that turns the ball over more than Jaguars. There's only one, and it's Zach Wilson in that horrendous Jets offense. So I'm actually streaming either the Bengals, the Titans. I think you can also stream the Miami Dolphins over the Cowboys or Packers.
I actually like the Packers. I mean, you're getting the Steelers, and the Steelers' offense look terrible. Big Ben continues to make terrible decisions and turn the ball over. So I don't mind
Did
the
you
Packers.
see his interception fading to the right? Linebackers got him the whole way.
It's embarrassing.
Man. Trade away Cooper, Antonio Gibson, and Sermon for A.J. Brown, Hawkinson, or Julio Hawkinson.
No.
Ugh, no, I cannot do that. This Indy team is just very tough for me to trust right now. I'm not looking to start them. Start some of these other guys, these other teams I've been mentioning. Bengals, then the Titans, Dolphins I like as well. No, I'm not starting the Colts defense. Linebacker agrees with us there. Justin traded away JT, Brandon Cooks, and A-Rob. Got Swift and Justin Jefferson, full PPR. I like it. I get that your depth now is not as good at wide receiver, but I do think you upgraded at wide receiver, and I think you also upgraded at running back in full PPR. It's close. It's fair. Probably want to see the rest of the roster to know if Brandon Cooks was a flex for you. Who do you now have to flex? I probably want to know that a little bit, but I'm fine with upgrading, doing 3 for 2s or 2 for 1s and getting the better players. Need a wide receiver and a flex here. Myers, Claypool, Hines, Jamal Williams, James Robinson, Kirk, Devontae Smith, full PPR. A lot of names. I'm probably going to do. So Juju missed practice. Deontay Johnson was limited in practice. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen there. I am probably going to do. I think I'm going to do Devontae Smith. I do think, even though he's been kind of a dud the last 2 weeks, he most of the time, the first 2 weeks was getting the lion's share of the target share in that offense. They're going to have to throw quite a bit. I'm going to go Devontae Smith and James Robinson, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. This is Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones, agree. If Deontay plays, Deontay Carson or Gibson, full PPR. Needs 2. I'm going Carson and Gibson.
That's
it's close. Deontay goes against Green Bay. They're at Green Bay. I'm not really worried about that matchup. But I'm still going to give the tie to the running back. Carson just – he actually hasn't been getting the crazy volume. The Seahawks have only run 21 times per game, but they're not passing a lot either. This is just a slow-moving offense in general. I think that's what we're starting to realize is that the reason Russ doesn't throw is because, A, they're super efficient, and they don't run a lot of plays per game. And so I'm going to stick with Carson and Gibson, even just because Carson's just so consistent. He's going to be a running back 1, fringe running back 1, 2 most weeks.
I'm going to go Deontay and Gibson.
Who is the better running back to trade away for a better wide receiver, Gibson or Robinson? Well, Gibson's your better running back. I want to maybe trade J-Rob after that good game. I think, Kev, didn't you say you would be fine with trading Robinson after that?
I think James Robinson could be fine this year. I think he could be a decent RB2. It's just you're just not going to – his value coming off that big of a game, I think it makes him a lot easier to move now. And so there's got to be it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster where he's not as consistent as he was last year. And so with that, like I would personally rather trade James Robinson than Antonio Gibson.
I agree with that. This one's Brandon Cooks for me.
Yeah.
Even if Gio does not play this week, and we see that Fournette's getting more of that pass catching work, I'm definitely going Cooks over Fournette. Damian Harris and Pittman out, Cole Beasley in. Interesting trade. I think this is
I think you gave up
loss.
way too much.
I think there's a loss. Would you do Pittman for Cole Beasley straight up? I don't think I would.
No, I want Michael Pittman.
Kings do not like this. Let us know how your roster is. We'll see if we can turn that back around for you. See Crip here. Beasley, Pittman, Patterson, or Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones for me as well. This is the one we answered earlier from Uzi. He's adding a couple other things here.
No,
this is the trade. One. This was the trade that he made.
Yeah, that's the same one. No.
We just didn't know what the trade was. He made the trade, he already made this trade. And this is why he had to choose between Ingram, Freeman.
No, he's getting CMC. I think when we saw earlier, we thought he was trading away CMC and McLaurin.
Gotcha.
He posted this already. Yeah. And so we said absolutely yes. If you're getting CMC and McLaurin, absolutely yes.
Yeah, it was good. And I think he's just sitting in a tough spot this week because CMC's out. Because I think So
then absolutely, yeah. Sorry. If we misread that, I apologize. But yes, you are absolutely want CMC and Terry McLaurin.
Get used to us misreading things. It's going to be happening the rest of it. It only gets worse from here, Kev. The later it gets, the worse it gets. Julio or Robert Woods as flex.
We got to monitor Julio, right? Yep. Because being limited. And so, I mean, if Julio is playing, I think you go Julio.
Jose, I think we answered that. Maybe someone else asked this, Godwin or Ridley, but it's Godwin for me. I'm going to buy this Tampa Bay offense this week.
It's going to be Ridley for me.
Okay. Here's a really good question because I think this is interesting. Two guys that are coming off of IR that I think we need to keep our eye on. Rashad Bateman and Curtis Samuel are both scheduled to return here in week 4. Now, what their usage is in the first week back, maybe it's not great, especially with Rashad Bateman coming in to I wouldn't say a busy wide receiver room, but busy enough with Watkins playing well and Marquise Brown kind of extending on what he did at the end of 2020. So right away, not great. It might be tough to kind of weather that storm, but I do think this is a guy that I want to hang on to and see what he can do. I think eventually he supplants and takes over maybe more of Sammy Watkins snaps. How do you feel, Kev?
I think he's an excellent buy. I've had him on the waivers because I do the wide receivers and tight end or wide receivers and quarterbacks every week, and I've had him on the list every single week. And people should be adding him. And now that he's going to be back. Now, listen, this is going to be a terrible matchup for him this week if he plays because they're playing Denver, and Denver's secondary is absolutely.
You're not starting him. You're not starting this week.
Not at all. But from a long-term perspective, I definitely think that, or at least for the rest of the year, I think he is probably going to end up being the number one wide receiver on this team. And he actually looks. I mean, of course, it's in shorts and it's in practice, but he looked pretty good today, cutting and everything else. Some of the clips that they showed him out of practice today. So, I think for the the rest of the season, I think he can be. I think he'll end up being a decent, at least flex option on a week-to-week basis.
Right. Tyler Conklin did not practice this week. Status is going to be questionable. It's just Wednesday. There's still time for him to come back. So keep tuned on his status.
Spread your wings, Chris Herndon. It's time to fly.
Stop that. Saquon Barkley, he's I guarantee you he is going to be at least limited if he practices at all on Wednesdays this entire year. I think that's just how it's going to be for Saquon. I don't know if I haven't heard anything more serious than that.
No, and it's smart. You give him maintenance days. You're going to give him time off. I mean, he is now he's getting kind of back to that opportunity share where he was, we were kind of hoping he would get to, right? I mean, last week, he's now for each of the last 2 weeks, he's played at least, he played 82% of the snaps week 2, 83% of the snaps last week. He's run 24 of the 26 routes last week. But we saw all these targets. The first 2 weeks, it was 3 targets a game. Now, last week, he was up to 7 targets, 6 catches, 94 total yards, and a touchdown. Yep. And so there was that little scare that he left hobbling off, but he came back, got into the end zone, had his first real, solid fantasy performance. He was RB9 on the week this week. So, Saquon's fine, but just expect they're going to give him maintenance days throughout the week, which who cares? I mean, I think it's smart. He's coming off a major injury. And, now what we have injuries to Sterling Shepard. We'll have to see what happens with him. Darius Slayton. All these guys are going to miss. It's only going to be good things for Saquon because he's going to continue to get more pass catching work.
Colin Johnson's season. Love the Twin Towers for Danny Dimes in 6'5", 6'6", Colin Johnson, and 6'4", Kenny Golladay. Love that. Hey, Judy is on the waiver wire for MJ here. I personally would drop both Rondale Moore or I'm not a fan of this Jets offense, as you know. Corey Davis is getting the fantastic target share. Just the Jets can't do a whole ton offensively. I like Judy over both these guys, but who are you dropping anybody for Judy here?
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, I think if I was going to drop somebody, I would probably prefer to drop Corey Davis. But
over Rondale, interesting.
It's really close. I don't really want to drop either one of them, but I get it. Maybe because with it, I mean, I guess it could clear because if you have IR spots, maybe you drop Rondale Moore coming off the week that he had, or maybe even Corey Davis, right? Maybe people don't go out and rush to re-add him. Right. If you have enough time, I guess you would. It's only Wednesday, so if you made the move, the waiver would clear in time. That way, then maybe you could do that. Maybe you get one of them back. You put Judy on your own IR. Now, I don't know if you have him because I don't know why the guy who has him doesn't have
probably no IR here.
Or he has somebody else that's already hurt that's in the IR, so he can't do anything with him, so he dropped him.
Sure.
So if you could pick him up and place him on IR and then pick your own guy back up. I think that's what I would look to do.
I'm not starting C. Patterson over Sanders. No. Timothy question here. Would you trade away Shepard or Jacoby to receive Chase Edmonds?
Yeah, I think I would not want to trade Jacoby. I think you could trade Sterling Shepard.
Ooh, interesting.
He just can't stay healthy. Like he's hurt again. It's always been his problem. It's never been the production. The production's always there for him. He's just always hurt. And, a lot of the times it's concussions, which you hate to see that.
Yep.
But, he's always hurt.
Yep. I do not think it's time to trade A.J. Brown. You'd be selling low. I think you need to ride it out, wait till he comes back. There will be better games for guys like him, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley. I think you need to wait this one out. Derek, he says it's gross, guys. Ayuk, who actually looked a lot better. I don't think that's as gross as it was a week or two ago. Chark or Rondale. We've seen worse already tonight, so this isn't the worst we've seen, Derek. I'm going to go Ayuk out of these three.
Absolutely. I have him as a wide receiver 2 this week.
Some fire. Love it, Kev. Standard. Are you moving any of these bench guys into Jose's starting lineup? Man, you got to trade Stafford, I think.
Yeah.
Man, you got to trade Stafford. This is the same Godwin. I'd probably go Godwin over Ridley. This is that same question, just to give him the full lineup. I'd probably go Godwin over Ridley, but they're close. I wouldn't mind it either way. How do you pronounce this name, Kev? It's not Gavi, is it? Gavi Glanzer? Little GG action here.
Javi?
That's what I was like. Is it Javi? That's normally J. I'll go with Gavi. GG here got a question for us. Half PPR trading away Mike Williams for George Kittle. Man, who is his other? Starting Jonnu. Who's his other wide receivers? Lamb, Higgins, Pittman. I think that's worth the massive upgrade you get at tight end. I would do that personally.
Yeah. Wide receiver production is easier to replace.
Yep. Much easier. How's the squad so far? 10-man PPR. Josh Allen, love that. Running backs, love them. Diggs and Lockett. Logan Thomas. I feel like the community's been low on Logan Thomas. He's been solid. I think he's like the tight end 7 or 6 right now. Hasn't done anything flashy, but he's been solid. Henderson, Claypool. I think the squad's good, Connor. I think the squad's good. Conklin or Hooper. I am not starting Hooper. David Njoku had the most snaps. They have Harrison Bryant mixing in there as well. If Conklin's healthy, I'm playing Conklin out of these two, but you have a ton of other streaming options. He talked about Dawson Knox. Yeah, Dawson Knox. I talked about Dalton Schultz a little bit. I think there's a lot of better options if Conklin is out. I wouldn't be focusing on Hooper here. Sermon, MG3, Hines, Javonte, or Davis for running back. I have CH and it sucks. I think things will get better for CH. Guessing he needs a running back 2 here.
I want to go either Hines or Javonte. I'm going to go Javonte.
I'm going to go Hines. I don't know if Javonte, I don't think they'll punish him for the fumble at all, but it's close. But I'm going to go Hines, just the full PPR. I do think he's getting worked in enough as a receiver to just give you a nice floor baseline, and he's found the end zone, so I'm going to go Hines there. Who wins the trade? Pittman and Davis for Jonathan Taylor.
Whoever got Taylor.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's side for sure. Okay. Let's see if we can get this right here. Racino here. He has Henry, Montgomery, Patterson, Moss. Just put in a trade to try and get Hunt for Mike Williams. Ooh. Do you think Hunt is enough for Mike Williams? I don't know if it is.
No, because I think Hunt's going to be frustrating on because there's going to be a lot of weeks. He's going to be a kind of a roller coaster guy too. Like he's more consistent. He's obviously a solid flex play on every single week, but I don't know. Like I think you could probably get more for Mike Williams. Honestly, the way Mike Williams is played,
Yep.
I think you're underselling what you could get for Mike Williams.
I agree, but I think you do it quick. Kev has Mike Williams pretty low. I don't have him as low as Kev. I just don't know if he can sustain what he's doing right now. I think he's wide receiver 2, right behind Cooper Kupp right now. So this is the time to sell Mike Williams if you want to get max value. Porsche, love seeing you here. Thank you for rocking in the Discord as much as you do. You are a champ. This is going to be Boyd for me, full PPR. No Higgins. I am going Tyler Boyd.
Agreed.
AB or Beasley at flex for Santiago. I'm going to go AB.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
This is Jalen Hurts.
Ooh, is it? I think I'm sticking with Lamar. Goes against Denver. That's actually a defense where I am downgrading. He's down at quarterback 6. Normally I'd have Lamar kind of as a locked, top 4 or 5 guy. I bumped him down a little bit. I'm still going to go Lamar over Jalen Hurts. Just been playing a lot better football there. Let's go start 2 here in standard. Who you go in between these guys? I think for me it's TMC and CD.
Yeah, it's tough. Do you not have a flex, Travis, that you could start Mike Williams in? I don't know, but
yeah. Man, standard Mike Williams, just that touchdown potential is always there. I actually might go Mike Williams over TMC.
I can't, not against the Falcons.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's a good call. Close between those two, but let's stick with McLaurin and Lamb. Fill in the roster, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Sutton Claypool, Robbie Anderson, Pittman, Christian Kirk, I believe. Carson, Gibson, Jones. You're going Aaron Jones.
So 2 running backs is Gibson and Aaron Jones.
Well, yeah, and I think I'm throwing the
3 wide receivers are Sutton, Claypool, and Pittman.
And then your flex is going to be, Carson Gibson, whoever you have lower. I'm sitting Robbie Anderson. I think you agree there.
This could be.
I know we're flipping. And it
I'm
could
going
be
Robbie Anderson
over
at the flex.
But yet you're sitting somebody then.
Well, he said 3 wide receivers, right?
Yep.
So Sutton, Claypool, and Pittman. Those are my 3 wide receivers.
2 running backs. Are you sitting Carson or Gibson for Robbie Anderson? I'm not.
Oh, I did not see. Okay. The Carson. I did not see that. Okay. So, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Starting Russ over Hurts. I am.
Let me put it this way: if you feel like you need absolute upside, I think Hurts is a little bit more in terms of that this week, just because of the matchup. But you're starting Russ. With this being a divisional game for Russ, like it's always just like they make those games like that, especially in the NFC West. They make me nervous where I feel like I could see this game being like 24 to 20 or something like that. It just be really low scoring. Where this Chiefs team, that anytime you play the Chiefs, there's going to be a lot of points scored.
There normally is. They're close for me, but I'm going to stick with Russ there. This one's Hines for me.
Yes.
Porsche coming back with a second question. Pick two of these guys. Marvin Jones, I'm going to lock that one in, and then I'm going to go. You like Ayuk. I'm going to guess that's going to be your second answer. I'm going to go Jacoby, man. That target share has been fantastic. Even if he's not getting 15, he's still been getting 8 or 9 targets the first 2 weeks. I'm going to go Marvin Jones and Jacoby Myers.
I'm going Marvin Jones and Ayuk.
I figured you might do that. Marvin Jones or Boyd. Oh, this is going to be neck and neck. I think they're at 27 and 29 or something like that in the wide receiver rankings. Do you have a good feeling either way? $27 and $30. I've got Boyd higher.
I did too, so I'm going Boyd.
Would you trade Godwin, Najee, and receive Boyd, Mark Andrews, and Chase Edmonds?
No.
Nope.
No.
What about trading Mixon and Fant? Oh, no. No. We are not trading Mixon for Waller straight up. Mixon is the best player in that trade. Tanyan or Fant rest of season?
Tanyan.
Fant for me.
Fant. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, Fant.
We are skipping questions. Apologies. Still working at this, getting a little bit better here. Brandon has a question. Braden has a question here. Pick a running back 2, wide receiver 2, in a flex. Henderson, Melvin Gordon, D-Hop, AJ Green, Higgins, Claypool. Henderson for running back. I think let's just get running back out of the way.
Yep.
Okay.
And with this scenario, you're playing DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, and then your flex for me is going to be.
You can already take Higgins out. We don't have to worry about him because he's already ruled out.
Claypool for me in the flex.
Yes.
Okay. I think we already have this question. Miles Sanders. It was not fantastic last week. Go back to the Sanders well. It should be better in week 4. Every now and then, it just resets on the comments and it goes all the way to the bottom. Let's see here. Mr. Wong. A little fun fact here. Renfro Beasley putting up 31 Yahoo points. This is where we're at. This is what happens some weeks. That's why it's a season long. I do believe Robert Woods and Amari Cooper will be better. But week to week, these guys can pop. I love that fun fact from Mr. Wong here. Hurts or Cousins?
Hurts.
I've got Hurts one spot higher. Cousins has been playing fantastic. Like, you could argue he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in real play, and it is showing up in fantasy. He does not probably have the upside that Hurts is. What Kirk Cousins is doing right now probably is his upside. So I'll go with Jalen Hurts as well. Sanders or AB?
Miles Sanders.
I agree there. Uzi with another question here. Trading McLaurin for Melvin Gordon and Deontay Johnson? I am not.
I'm going to hold CMC.
Antonio giving us a question, Demont here, if he's trying to trade Demont plus either Keenan Allen, Ridley, or Diggs, what running back should he be targeting? And I think if you're trading one of those top 3 wide receivers with Dave Montgomery, you have to get a top. He already has CMC. Man, you'd have to get Dalvin or Kamara or Henry plus something back as well, because it's not just a 2-for-1 with that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, you're trading, pretty. See, I don't know. It's going to depend on what I see, because Keenan hasn't last week, he's been out. He's been a little bit shadowed by what Mike Williams has been doing, right? And Diggs, he hasn't really balled out. Diggs has been really consistent. He hasn't really put out those huge performances where he scored 20+ fantasy points. He's been in that 12 to 14 range every single week, consistent, but not really kind of what you're looking for, probably from a guy you drafted in the first or second round. And then Keenan, it's kind of what we're talking about. And Ridley, he struggled as well. And so none of these guys, I think they all have the names. You definitely could get a lot for them, but I don't know if you're going to be able to go up and get Dalvin or AK or Kamara for one of these guys, especially not Henry with what he's done.
No,
so
yeah,
far.
Henry's out. And I guess
it's so to me, you're probably just creating another hole though. Wide receiver, now, you're still strong. Don't be wrong. When you have Keenan, Ridley, and Diggs, really strong group, right? And you have CMC. CMC is going to be back. Like I said, it very well could be next week. If not, it's probably the week after. He should be back, right? And so, and I get it with David Montgomery. He had a pretty decent start, and then he's fallen off a little bit. But this is a major bounce back week for him. And so, I feel like it's probably going to take more than David Montgomery and Keenan Allen, I would think, to get somebody like that.
Yeah, here's the full team makeup here. Man, I want to know who else is on the bench there, because if you're moving these guys, who else do you have at running back? You'd have 2 studs, but I want depth, especially when we're hitting the bye weeks. Woods over Corey Davis, that's a yes for me.
Yeah.
Superflex, love a good Superflex league. Mets, that's fantastic. You traded Diggs, Fant, Ruggs for Lamar and Carson. Yeah, if you get Lamar in a Superflex league, I can't imagine what your quarterbacks are now, but yeah, that's a win. Pick 2 here. Who you got out of these names? A lot of good names here.
Man, that's tough. So give me Amari and Thielen.
Yeah. Man, I want to get Sutton in there, though. I really want to get Sutton in there somehow.
Actually, you know what? No. I'm going Allen Robinson and Amari.
Put the flag down. If anybody has the cojones to do it after 3 tough weeks with Allen Robinson, it's Kev Steele. I'm going Thielen and Amari. Man, it's tough sitting. And it's tough sitting A-Rob as well. I do think he has better weeks. He is not the guy we've seen through the first 3 weeks. Kev, I don't know how to do this. Thomas is asking how to send a super chat. I don't know the answer. I'm always on the other side. Do you know how to do this?
You just, and the question, there should be, you should see a money symbol right next to it. And you just click the money symbol, and then you put in how much ever it is you want from there. But in the comments, where you type in your comment over to the right, you should see a money sign.
Appreciate the love, Thomas. Who should you play if in the flex if Julio is out? AB, Javonte, or Elijah Mitchell? It's close between Mitchell and AB for me. That's why I'm pausing here. Mitchell, I think you have probably a safer workload. Like I said at the top, I do think Sermon works in a little bit, but I do think it's going to be Mitchell's show. But AB has a much higher ceiling. I think we saw it week 1 against Dallas. Tom's going to be throwing a lot. And again, whenever I'm playing my flex, I want upside in my flex. I'm going to go AB here.
Did I already say that? I said, yeah, AB.
Oh, my apologize. Would you trade Lamar Jackson for Josh Allen?
Yes.
Oh, Thomas already did. Look at it. He figured it out on his own 14 minutes ago.
That's what happens when you're behind in the chat. Okay.
We're really, really bad at this. Thomas is much smarter than we are. He figured it out shortly after.
It's the same thing that I always say. We're always going to be behind because we get all these questions, which we love. But I hate just random, like rapid fire. Need like on this question, need an RB2, and I say James Robinson, move on to the next one, and just keep wrapping because you get no thought process as to why. You know, because I want to hear if I'm going to ask somebody a question, I want to know why. Now if it's the same guys over and over again, we don't have to say it over and over again. But at least if it's something different, if it's close, whatever, I want to talk through it a little bit versus just spitting out a name real quick.
Yeah, for this one here, it's going to be close between J-Rob and Chuba for me. I'm not sold that Chuba's just going to get the entire workload. I think Royce Freeman works in a little bit. J-Rob did have a good week 3. They are not running a ton, but he got involved in the passing game finally. He has shown that he is the better running back, and I think we all knew this compared to Carlos Hyde. So I'm going to go J-Rob here for my running back too.
Yeah, I agree. And again, we really, really appreciate whatever you got, the super chats. It doesn't matter how much, whatever. Super, super appreciated.
Ooh, better commentator, my guy Tony Romo or Chris Collinsworth. Tony is fantastic, but honestly, I've listened to Tony. He does a lot of Chiefs games, so I'm sure you've heard him. I think he did the back-to-back Chiefs games these past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, he was actually terrible. I did not like listening to Romo. He just was making a lot of just talking to talk, so I didn't love that. Collinsworth is fantastic. People love the slide, but I think Romo just brings a ton of unique I think he teaches the game a little bit and what these quarterbacks are saying before the line. He's calling out what this play could be because he's telling you why they're calling and what they're doing and why they're doing it. So I like Romo a little bit more. They're both great.
It's Romo. I know a lot of people love to hate Chris Collinsworth. I don't mind him, but a lot of people seem to hate him. But I will say this: I am really, really sad that the Manning cast is going to be off the air for the next 3 weeks. They come back week 7. I did not know this was a thing that they were taking a break, and it's a 3-week break, so they're off week 4, 5, and 6. They'll be back week 7, and I'm like, no, because I absolutely adore the Manning cast. Like, it is absolutely amazing. Like, I don't know if like the Chiefs are playing or if my team was playing, if that's the way that I would want to watch it. I'm not sure, because I do find myself like drifting off, just paying attention to them, not paying as much attention to what's happening in the game, because they are so. It's not even just that the analysis they're giving you, breaking it down from their perspective as a quarterback, what they're seeing, what they think should happen here, and kind of. I think you're learning a lot about football, but it's just so damn entertaining too. Yeah. With what they do. So it has been. It's going to be funny because they have like their main broadcast has been getting killed by that. But because everybody wants to watch that.
They knew it would. ESPN knew that would happen. I will say when the Cowboys were on Monday night just a couple days ago, I did not like it as much. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I was trying to focus, and I was like, okay, I didn't see that number, and normally they're calling out, who made that tackle or something like that. And with all the numbers switching, I'm still trying to keep up with that. So it was a little different, not knowing and having to maybe do a little bit more research on the game stuff because I'm watching my team. But yeah, week 2 and in week 1 when I did it, it was much better. I am not. I am on record, Justin. Jackson over Hurts. There's just one nutso on this show that is going Hurts over Jackson.
That's it. That's easy. I don't know why that's so difficult. They both possess the rushing upside, and this is by far, it is the worst matchup that they may see all year. This Denver defense is no punk, and it's on the road in Denver. Right, and not to mention the fact that Baltimore's defense or offensive line is missing Ronnie Stanley, one of their best offensive linemen, right? And so I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball. And if they're able to contain Lamar Jackson, this could be a really rough game, really low scoring game, right? This isn't going. They're both the Broncos we've already talked about are very, very slow paced. They're 30th in pace. There's not going to be a lot of plays here. They're two teams that want to run the football. right? And so unless the Broncos are able to assert their will on offense and make them throw the ball a lot, the opportunity just isn't going to be there this week. It's just a really ugly game. And so it makes it pretty easy to go Jalen Hurts in a game that's going to be up tempo, that they're going to have to keep up with Kansas City. They're not going to be able to sit back and wait. And so it's 100% Jalen Hurts for me. Lamar Jackson, like I said, I have him like 11 or 12. I think for most people, you're playing him. But if you have Jalen Hurts, you're playing Jalen Hurts.
Agree to disagree there. Mets, I don't know if there's a question here, just kind of showing us his team. He's got 2 flex, he says, but I don't know how many running backs and how many wide receivers we're starting. This is a solid team. If the 2 flexes, if we're just doing a traditional 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, my flex are going to be Chris Carson and then Odell. And that's if Julio plays. If Julio does not play, then the second flex is Deontay. CH or Henderson for you here for Cole?
CH.
Man, that Arizona defense is giving up so many points to running backs. Closer than it should be, I will go CH as well. We already had this one.
Yeah,
I
no.
believe.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Pick 2 flexes here, half PPR, Kareem Hunt, OBJ, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks.
OBJ and Mike Williams.
Do they see my super chat? We got it, brother. We got it. We got you loud and clear.
Well, I don't know what's up with it because normally I know they can't see RN. Normally it shows up top. I don't know if it's because they have some, excuse me, some message, which I know people can't see our back end, but where, excuse me, still trying to get over the sickness, but it usually shows us. So we apologize that we did not get to it. Because normally it shows up immediately. We get a notification that we see it. And so now normally we jump right to them. So I apologize.
Truth Teller has Mixon as his running back 2. Should he trade Odell and another running back? Package Mixon and Odell for more proven running. No, Mixon's fine. Mixon's fine. You're not going to find a back that has a stronger workload than him other than Derrick Henry. Like, he has a fantastic workload and he has the talent. Not worried about that. Abraham, where you been? Love this. Getting a question from you. Any changes to the starting lineup here? Bench is A.J. Brown. Most likely not going to play, but let's keep an eye on that. If he is playing, I am starting him. I don't think I'm changing this. Logan Thomas over Goddard.
You probably change if A.J. Brown plays, you're starting over Corey Davis.
And I actually would start Jacoby Meyer over Corey Davis. That would be a change for me. Jacoby Meyer over Corey Davis.
I don't know, man. So it's easy to look at the Jets. It's kind of something I've said. It's like, so the Jets have had really one of the worst starts in terms of the schedule, right? And so like this is going to be their first like good matchup against a bad defense. And so not that I think the Jets are going to come out and just light up the Titans, because that's not what's going to happen. But I do think now Corey Davis is back in play. Where they've had some really bad matchups before. I think he's definitely in play. And, it's just tough. I probably would lean towards Jacoby Myers, but I think it's really close between them and Corey Davis.
29 targets, man. That is tough to sit for 3 weeks for Jacoby Myers. What is up, Andrew? We've got 12-man PPR. Would you do any packages with this roster lineup here that we have to get a better wide receiver 2? Woods will have better weeks. I get it. Woods and Anderson have been super disappointing for you. I do think Woods will have better weeks. I don't want to give up those running backs. I love this. If this is PPR, right? Eckler, Swift, CH. CH, we hope gets more involved in the pass game. But yeah, the first 2, that's fantastic. Tight end is Hawk.
It looks like if I'm reading this right, it looks like he has Michael Thomas probably on the bench.
Michael Thomas on the bench, yeah.
And I mean, you have to remember, Michael Thomas should be back now, probably within 3 weeks from now.
Week 7, yeah, is that because they have bye week 6.
Yeah, so we're in week 4, so yeah, 3 weeks from now he should be.
Write it out. This could be the week that Robert Woods gives you that wide receiver 2, and even he has that wide receiver 1 ability as well. Keep riding this out, Andrew. I think you will have better days ahead. If Josh Jacobs plays, Jacobs or Chuba.
Yeah, but they're not going to have that decision to make because if you sit Chuba, right, and they so
Chuba's not going on Thursday. Is that what you're saying?
No. But I guess we'll have the news on Josh Jacobs before then, and so if they're playing, I'm still going Chuba. The reason why they're close, but the reason why for me would be, I think Josh Jacobs is probably still going to be limited in terms of, and you're going to see Peyton Barber switch in. You're going to see Kenyon Drake get opportunities where I think Chuba, especially as a pass catcher here as well, I just prefer that. So I think I would go
That's
Chuba.
interesting. You were talking about earlier in this about the Chargers just giving up a lot to the running backs. I think I'm playing Josh Jacobs. He's a better talent. I get it. Is he limited? Maybe. I'll still take 10 rushes from Josh Jacobs over 10 rushes from Chuba Hubbard. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah.
So giveaway Najee for Mixon and McLaurin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious, would you do Najee for Mixon straight up?
I would prefer
very close,
Mixon, but it's very close. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're getting McLaurin on top of this, Jake, hit accept, find that trader. Full PPR for RCM, Sutton, Claypool, or Sony Michel.
I'm gonna go Sutton.
Sutton for me as well. Hey, look at this. No question, just a $1 holla. Love that. Thank you so much.
Rocking the Patriots gear. Are people excited about this game that are non-Patriots fan? This Tom Brady returning to Foxborough, all the narratives that's going to be surrounding this. I will say that they really did a good job with the video on Sunday Night Football.
That's what it was.
The Dell, it really played well with the,
Mm-hmm.
So I knew, everybody with a brain or a pulse knew that this was going to be really hyped, and this week this is going to be the most talked about game probably of the year, outside of the Super Bowl and the playoffs. But like this regular season game, this is probably the most anticipation for any game you're going to see because his return back to Foxborough. So so I just curious if other people are as excited about this game as I think Patriots fans probably will be, or Bucs fans for that matter.
Yeah. No, Adele got me pumped up for this matchup. I am very much looking forward to that, especially if Tom Brady breaks that record. I think they'll be fantastic to see. Kev, from Ian here. Ian, good to see you here. Pittman or Myers, they're really similar level of player for me. Like I think Pittman maybe has a little bit higher touchdown upside, but they're really similar for me. It's the matchup, and I don't know which one I rank as maybe a tougher matchup. Miami's secondary, Tampa Bay secondary has been a lot easier this year. Historically, it's been a good defense.
They brought in Richard Sherman.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? I think they brought in two. Maybe it was the 49ers that brought in. There was another name I saw that was signed. I was like, oh yeah, name from yesteryear. This is close.
I think it's Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, same player for me, same type of player. I'll probably pick a little bit better of a matchup there. I'll go Jacoby Myers as well. They're going to have to pass. Let's talk about that. We talked about Tom Brady wanting to throw all over the place. What are the Patriots going to have to do to stay in this game? They only gave Damian Harris 6 carries last game. They completely abandoned that run. What did Mac Jones threw 51 times? I agree. Myers for me. 2 spots open. Abraham just did a trade. Who are you trying to target? Gainwell, Ingram, A.J. Dillon. Of those 3 names, Gainwell and A.J. Dillon for me. If anything happens to Aaron Jones, I think A.J. Dillon vaults into a really good conversation. Maybe splits a little bit of pass catching work with Kylan Hill. Gainwell, I don't know if he's ever going to be something, but better than Mark Ingram. Any other names that you like here that he could maybe pick up, might be out there?
I think both of those actually, Kenny Gainwell and A.J. Dillon are both strong. Obviously handcuffs to own because if anything happens to the starter, they're going to be the guy that's going to take a step forward, or got to be the guy that's going to get the the starting role, especially AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon is a lottery ticket waiting to happen if anything happens to Aaron Jones. So, and I think as the season wears on, you're going to see games where AJ Dillon gets more involved, and he's has some touchdown upside and stuff like that. So, I mean, as of right now, I think Gainwell and AJ Dillon will be for sure.
Big game, James. Appreciate you as well. Thanks for tuning in. Braden, same thing, right back at you. Appreciate that. Caleb, you can trade away Gibson and AJ Brown for Hopkins. Is that a good trade? No.
Yeah.
Nathan, would you trade Brandon Cooks for AJ Brown?
Yeah.
You're going to hear it from Walito here when we jump back in the Discord in another 30 minutes.
If Walito says that you should not trade Brandon Cooks for AJ Brown,
I think he will. We'll see. Walito, if you're in the chat, let us know. If not, I'm sure we will hear it in the
I know
Discord.
he's been really quiet tonight. I don't know where he's been,
Yeah. Slacking on the job. Come on now. Who are you picking up here? I guess that last one is Rager.
Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Watkins is probably a little safer of an option, on a week-to-week basis. But I think Rondale Moore would be the guy I'd go with. I'm going Boyd here.
This is one we have to decide by tomorrow. I'm going to go Boyd because I don't know who's in or out for Pittsburgh's wide receivers. We just talked about Renfro and somebody else at the top. I forget who we were comparing him to. I'm going to go Tim Patrick here. Oh, it was Renfro and Christian Kirk is who it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Tim Patrick here.
I'm going to go Patrick here too.
Gus, I feel like we need more information here. Kev, I just don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume this is single QB, which makes it a yes for me.
Yeah, who does the quarterback that they have? Who do they have? Because what are you going to be left with? Not that I think you can definitely stream if you can get Dalvin Cook. I'm about that live. But I would just be curious what other quarterbacks are out there or what quarterback they have.
Yeah. We got this one, I think.
Yes.
Rate the team for Thomas, Lamar, Devontae, Allen Robinson. Man, those are some fantastic wide receivers. Eckler, Robinson, Debo, Waller, Gaskin. The running backs are a little shaky for me in 10 team. Like to see him a little bit stronger of a running back too than James Robinson. I'm not a Gaskin guy, so that I don't love that. If you can make some moves to improve the running back, I think I'd like this team a little bit more. But it's solid. You got a really good quarterback, really good tight end. I think that's the two key staples in these smaller leagues. You have to have a top 3 to 5 quarterback, top 3 to 5 tight end for sure. This is the same one. We got to get to these. What to do with Robbie Anderson? Kev, who is much lower on him than me, even says hold. I think you're holding one more week with CMC out. Matchup against the Cowboys. Let's see if Robbie Anderson can finally do something. I am holding on to him as well. Depth at running back. Sonny Michel about to pick up Michael Carter once my trade goes through.
Love that. Like I said, I mean, their schedule's been brutal, absolutely brutal for this offense. So I think Michael Carter, again, I think either Michael Carter or Ty Johnson, I think evolves from this offense eventually. And I think Michael Carter has a chance to be a kind of, a bye-week flex option type play, right? Depending on matchup. I just think they've had a really rough start to the season, and some of it's just been matchup based.
Yeah, I want to see him get to a point, kind of like how I view James White, where I think he's going to get 3 to 5 catches. And if he does anything on the ground, finds the end zone, it's fantastic. But I'd love to see Michael Carter get to that point. Pick 2, Williams and OBJ for me.
Agreed.
We answered Renfro or Patrick already.
Yeah,
Watch him blow up on Dallas. I personally, as a Cowboys fan, would not love to see that. But for my Robbie shares, which I have quite a few, yes, CMC is out. We got to hang on to him one more week.
I just have this like in the back of my head. I'm like, Robbie Anderson's going to go for like 5 for 120 and 2 in this game, where I could see them maybe take Diggs and put him on DJ Moore. And then, where he has a little bit better of a matchup. But,
here's the thought, because Marshall's, his snaps haven't gone like up each time. I think in week 2 he kind of dipped a little bit, but he's getting more involved, even if the snaps in week 2 took a little bit of a dip. And he had 4 catches, I think, 48 yards, something like that this past week. I do think, like most of these rookie wide receivers, just rookies in general, they get more involved as the year goes on. If Robbie has another stinker, I'm absolutely fine dropping him, because Terrace Marshall is out there in a lot of leagues, and I think long-term maybe he can be a guy for you.
Terrace Marshall should not be out there in a lot of leagues, though.
I've seen him out there in some leagues, yes.
Yeah, no, he is. He's only rostered in 18% of leagues. Like, he's definitely out there. He should not be. I love Terrace Marshall, and he should not be out there. Also, since they traded Dan Arnold, I guess we didn't really talk about it at rookie tight end, and I don't know. It might still be pretty thin, but Tommy Tremble is at least somewhat interesting. He's somebody that me and you, I know, both liked over the offseason, especially through the draft process with all the videos we did about that. And he is a very athletic guy and tested very well. Was utilized more as a blocking tight end at Notre Dame. They never really gave him much of an opportunity as a pass catcher, but in this offense, now he's the starting tight end now for this offense. I would assume. I can't imagine it's going to be Ian Thomas.
Ian Thomas actually, oddly enough, gets the majority of snaps, but it's not. He's not turning those into targets. So between Ian Thomas and he's a bigger guy, you have Tommy Tremble, I think he's like 246. He blocks like he's 260. Fantastic blocker. That's actually the better part of his game. But just because he wasn't used in college as a pass catcher, he has really good pass catching chops.
We got a couple of these super chats. Let's hit these real quick.
Let's do it.
Priority. Tim Patrick, Ruggs, Mooney, Sterling, PPR, since T is out. I'm gonna. Oh man, that's rough. It's either Patrick or Mooney for me. I think I'm gonna go Darnell Mooney.
Oh, you cannot start Mooney after what we saw last week. I don't think you can do it.
If you can't get right against the Detroit Lions.
But get right. We have to let A-Rob get right. Let David Montgomery get right.
If he can't get right against the Detroit Lions, then Matt Nagy just needs to. I'm pretty sure this game's in Detroit. He needs to keep his ass in Detroit and be like, listen, bitch, you're walking home. You're out. Right? Him and Ryan Pace, they can Uber at home. All right. If they can't get going against the Detroit Lions, I don't care what it is. They need to be gone. So. Give me Darnell Mooney, but if you want to go Tim Patrick, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Tim Patrick, much safer for me. Pick 2 here, PPR. Kyle, thank you so much for the $1.99 holla. I'm gonna go CEH and Monty. Oh gosh.
I'm gonna go Montgomery and Deontay.
You have Deontay over Sutton, obviously assuming Deontay plays. I think I have Sutton over Deontay.
It's just tough because Deontay can see 20 targets. Like, that's all he does, right? He's going to get 20. He could have 10 catches for 70 yards, right? The Phillies' run defense is actually respectable. And I know that Zeke had a pretty good game against them this past week, but I just don't think the Chiefs on a weekly basis are going to be out here doing what they did last week and gave him 17, 18, 19 carries. Yeah. And so it just makes it a little bit tougher to trust. I don't mind CEH this week. Like I've said, I have no problem playing him. But for me, I have Dave Montgomery as a top 12 running back. So
I'm going to go the running backs there. I don't mind Sutton. Deontay, I'm a little bit more hesitant on. Kyle, do with that what you will. Gus, love it. Thank you so much for the $5 shout out. Considering trading Kyle Murray for Dalvin Cook. Yeah. So this is the one we were going on earlier. He has.
So if he traded, he would get Cousins, and then running back would be Henry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Cousins is playing fantastic. I know Kyler Murray's literally the quarterback 1, but Cousins is the quarterback 6. Like, Cousins is playing fantastic.
Yeah,
I absolutely
listen, I mean, Kirk Cousins is not going to sustain this throughout the year. That's not going to happen. He's not going to continue to do this all year. But I think at worst, like, I can't pass up getting a top 2, top 3 running back. I don't care for a quarterback. They're a little bit more easily. They're easier to replace. So I am not passing up. I get it how good Kyler Murray has been, but I want Dalvin Cook. If I can get Dalvin Cook for a quarterback, I will do it all day in a single quarterback league. Superflex, a little bit different.
Yep. Start 2 wide receivers, non-PPR, Woods, AB, Tim Patrick, Rondale, Manny Sanders, a couple of downtrodden emoji faces there.
Man, I hate non-PPR. I'm going to go Woods and AB.
Yep, I think you're going to go with the first 2.
It's tough because I do think Emmanuel Sanders is in play for sure for a for a touchdown against Houston, but yeah, give me Woods and AB.
All right. I think we were around here. Did we answer this one?
No.
Okay.
Do I start Pittman or CH? CEH.
So then the defensive question. Oh, no. Okay. Gotcha. They're just giving us the matchups. Nicholas. Which
Jamar
2?
Chase and Amari Cooper for me.
I'm going to go Thielen and Cooper. Thielen and Cooper.
Oh, that's excellent job.
Yeah. Yep. Chase and A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's the sell high that Kev's talking about with James Robinson. Good work. Renfro, Patrick, man, we got that question quite a bit here.
This, I'm going Gaskin.
Man, you were buying into those 12 targets, 14 targets. Waddle had one. Gaskin had the other with the overtime. Oh. I'm going to go Jared Cook. I think he finds the end zone. Fine with either. They're going to be right next to each other in the rankings. Ashton, long time. How you been? Start 2 full PPR.
So Ayuk for sure. Juju, I don't know if he's going to play or not.
I don't know if he does.
If he plays, it's Ayuk and Juju. If he doesn't, it's Ayuk and
Bryan Edwards had a nice game. Quiet 5
but
for
not till the
89.
end. Excuse me. Not till the end. Like, it's just like, we don't really need you, Brian. You just wait till this last drive, and you're just gonna go ham on this last drive of each of these games. But
give me Ayuk and Juju if Juju plays. If Juju is out, we are switching to Bryan Edwards for me. I can't trust Sermon with Elijah Mitchell coming back.
I'm gonna go Ayuk and Will Fuller.
Ballsy. Good evening to you as well. Vic, need to start 2 wide receivers non-PPR. Ooh, this looks kind of similar to what we just had. And I think we're probably going to keep the same. Woods and AB. We probably already had this. This is probably the question.
The one that he had. That was the one he had for the
Look at me. It's fantastic at my job here.
Yeah.
Package Sanders and Odell for Aaron Jones. Yes. That's probably not enough.
I would assume it's not enough.
Throw in Pittman, not Sutton. If he doesn't also accept the Pittman one, would you be fine throwing in Sutton, Sanders, Odell, all for Aaron Jones? Man, that's I'd want to know the rest of that roster.
I don't think that I would.
It's too much. Too much. Bye weeks coming up. Alex, would you trade Saquon and Woods for Mixon and DK? Oh, This one pulls at the heartstrings a little bit. Yep, I have so many shares of Mixon and DK, much higher on them than the consensus was coming into the season. I like them. Flex start, PPR, Beasley, Davis.
I'm going to go Corey Davis.
Beasley. Trading away Waller, Hunt, Devontae Smith, and Gainwell for Diggs, Pitts, Jamal Williams, and Damian Harris. Slight downgrade at running back. Major upgrade at wide receiver. Downgrade at tight end.
Yeah, I think I want the Waller Hunt.
Yeah, it is nice going from Devontae Smith to Diggs, but I think you're just taking the hit at tight end and running back. And I don't like taking the hit at running back if I can avoid it. Boom, let's go. We need this to be the Allen Robinson week. We're going to get a ton of these questions on Sunday, Kev, and I think we need to stake our flag. It sounds like you already have. I need to get on board as well. Let's go, A-Rob. Make it good week 4.
Devonta Smith.
Yes. Not for me. I'm not picking up Marlon Mack.
Yeah, because I just don't know where he goes. What team's trading for Marlon Mack? You know what I mean? There's just, if an injury happens, sure, I could see it happening, but I don't think any team's gonna be, falling over themselves to go to acquire Marlon Mack. So he probably just ends up getting released.
Yeah. Well, let's know who you'd be dropping to pick him up, but I think it's gonna be a no for me across the board. Ron, what's up? Glad to see you back again. It is gonna be a great week. I had a great week 3, honestly, and I'm looking to ride that momentum into week 4. Would you trade Jonathan Taylor for Brandon Cooks? No. I'm not doing that. No, I don't even need to read the rest of that question.
Did you just skip one? Did you went one and then you skipped?
PPR, Demont, CH Sutton or Deontay. This is, we had this question. This was the reason I skipped it is I think this was the $2 holler from Kyle. I was trying to get ahead of it, and I clicked on it. Still, I tried to click off. You caught me on it. Gasicki or Tanya, not happy with Goddard so far. Mets, I think we either answered this for you or somebody else.
If it's between Gasecki and Tanyan, give me Tanyan.
Give me Tanyan, yes. But are you dropping or starting Tanyan over Goddard? Because I'm not advocating that you carry 2 of these guys.
I think if you want to drop Goddard for Tanyan, I think you could do that.
If you think Hurts is going to have the big week that you think he will, Goddard, the tight end's going to be involved. That's my question.
I just don't think there's a huge gap between the 2 of them. I guess let me put it that way. And being with Aaron Rodgers and everything else in that offense, and that passing offense, it just makes me I like him a little bit more. But yeah,
I think Cooks is a really good sell.
Yes,
I think really, really good sell.
And I also think he's going to get sold from his own team that he's on now, and that'll be interesting to see how he factors in. He's definitely getting traded before the trade deadline's up.
Man, that makes it interesting on where he goes. He goes to a different offense. Maybe he is a hold. Ooh.
It could be good, but it could also be bad. Because if he goes to a team where he's no longer getting that type of volume, where I still think that he will be fine and he's going to be a producer. I don't know. Unless he goes to maybe Green Bay could be a possibility of somewhere he went that would really make you feel better about him than what you do now. But there's some other spots where he could probably go to where you don't feel as good about him anymore.
Yeah. If Deontay plays, this would be a spot where I'd go Deontay over Jacoby. Love Jacoby, but I am going to play Deontay over him. Yeah, Murray for Cook. We completely agree there, Ramon, on that one. I'm interested to see what you say here. Very interested as the guy, you and Christian pounding the table for Terrace Marshall. Now you got him going against other Bay and Rondale Moore. I'm going Terrace. I just think touchdown potential much, much higher. And then just your average depth of target going to be much, much higher with Terrace. I get it.
I
He's
think
not
that
on. He's not on as prolific of an offense, but the Panthers with Sam Darnold are doing enough. They're throwing enough. Sam Darnold has 2 weeks of over 300 yards passing. I think they can do that against the Cowboys, which have given up a ton of passing yards. I'm going to go Terrace.
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Don't skip it. Don't skip it. Let's just go to it. I've been sitting here staring at this question from Hector. Is it worth stashing Josh Gordon? Finally get to talk about Josh Gordon or Deshaun Watson. We're here we are again. Here we are again. We're back into the hype of there could be a trade coming for Deshaun Watson. He was trending. He was a little bit ago on Twitter. And now I guess they're saying that they've softened their stance on trading him, and they're not asking us for as much. I mean, there's seriously some teams I can see trading. I mean, I definitely still can see Miami trading for him. Definitely can still see Miami trading for him. They have the firepower to do it. I also think that I can still see Philly doing the same thing. If Jalen Hurts continues to struggle, I could see them saying, "Nope, we're pulling the plug. Let's go get Deshaun Watson." So I don't mind it, but I don't like. You have to have really deep benches for you to be able to do it, because you could just be holding this guy all year for no reason. Okay, I would just be paying attention to news. And if you had a quarterback, I think you could do it. But I would hate to be holding this guy all year, and just him sitting there just burning a roster spot. Now, as far as Josh Gordon is concerned, no, he's not probably worth a roster spot either. It sounds like, at least for this week, he's probably going to remain on the practice squad, kind of learn this playbook, learn this offense a little bit, and you could probably see him next week. But he's probably going to play the Demarcus Robinson role in this offense, which is the 3rd or 4th wide receiver on this offense is probably what he's going to be. I think they can use another wide receiver like him with his size, because they don't really have a lot of that between Tyreek, McCole, Pringle. They're all a bunch of smaller wide receivers. They don't have that kind of big body alpha. And so that's kind of what they had a little bit with Sammy Watkins being there. And, now that they lost him. So this is really just a cheap lottery ticket for them. Hit with a name, right? They don't really need help on offense. I don't mind kicking the tires on a guy like Josh Gordon. And I can see Josh Gordon having some fantasy viable weeks. But is it going to be somebody that you're going to want to start every week? No. More likely than not, he's probably going to end up the year with probably 4, maybe 500 passing yard or receiving yards and probably 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think is probably somewhere in the range. Because if you look in 2018, in 11 games, I mean, he was on pace to have well over 1,000 receiving yards that year with New England. And then in 2019, he played again, and I think he had 500 receiving yards and like 2 touchdowns. And he only started like 6 or 7 games that year. So he did not play last year, but I wouldn't be expecting a whole lot from Josh Gordon.
Agreed. I'm not picking him up. Pittman or Claypool for the flex. I'm agreeing with C-Crip here, where if Juju and Deontay are out, I'm going Claypool. I think he got enough of that target share. Even if just one of them is out, I will still stick with Claypool. If not, I will also go Pittman. Did you have Pittman or Claypool? Did you have a preference there?
Claypool.
Start 3 PPR: Gaskin, Woods, Waddle, Pittman, Ayuk, Patrick, Devontae Smith, Mitchell. Man, these are deep benches. I love having all these guys.
Ayuk, Woods, Devonta.
Woods, Waddle, Devonta. I am not as high on Ayuk. No, let me take that back. Woods, Pittman, Devonta. I want Pittman in there. Team 1 and Team 2. Ooh, and Team 3. I need to read and see what we're getting into with all those teams here. Let's go to Trace here. CD or Ridley, full PPR.
Man, you can't start both, Trace? We'll see. I have CD as the top 6 wide receiver this week.
As a top what?
6.
Yeah, that's going to be CD for me as well. I think New Life just heard a lot of the thoughts about Josh Gordon. We are not picking him up at this present time, and that's coming from the Josh Gordon lover
Well,
on the Chiefs.
So it's kind of like I wouldn't mind it if you wanted to add him. Like if you again 12-team league, let's say you have 6-7 bench spots. If you wanted to add him as a speculative ad, I think you could do it. Are you running out to like add him as he a must add? No. But if you wanted to add him as a speculative ad, see what else he has. Obviously, he's played on good offenses in the past. He's got to play with Tom Brady. He has to play with Russell Wilson. But both of those teams are also really run-heavy offenses, or that skew more towards the run they do the pass. This is completely the opposite. The Chiefs don't have that, or the Chiefs aren't that. The Chiefs are always going to be a very run-heavy offense. And so if you wanted to stash him, I don't hate it. See what he's got, see what he could be. Because I think he could be, like I said, I think he could end up posting and being a useful like flex option possibly in matchups. With any time you have Patrick Mahomes on the field, you're viable.
Yep. Truth Teller, I think like before with your question, I don't want to give up too much just for one player. And if you're doing Odell, Pittman, and Sutton, I think that's too much. Trusting Kyle Pitts, he's not going to be what I think a majority of the community thought. I was not as high on Pitts. I don't think he'll reach those expectations were unrealistic anyways. He literally would have had to have the best tight end one season for a rookie of all time just to get close to what they were expecting. I think he's going to be much more in that tight end 8 to 14 range. So you can maybe look at attacking the tight end more, but I'm not doing those 3 wide receivers for Aaron Jones. Help see Crip out here. Can he play D-Hop even if he goes all the way up to be a game time decision like he did last week? Let some fantasy managers down last week.
I think you can, but I would be very hesitant. I would be very nervous because now, it's always a tough matchup anyways to face, Jalen Ramsey. But we've seen DeAndre Hopkins be one of the few guys that can absolutely cook Jalen Ramsey. And he usually seems like he always scores a touchdown against them. So I think you could play him. It just really depends on which other options are.
This is going to be Sutton for me, but I do like Woods to hopefully bounce back.
Yeah, me too.
Can we help Abraham here? Does he need to package anything to upgrade or get another running back? He has Aaron Jones and Najee, so I think you're fine. Running back 1, running back 2. You really have 2 running back 1s most weeks. Najee's kind of in that fringe, running back 1, running back 2 for me. I think you're fine. Carter, Dillon, I think you're okay. Just keep playing that waiver wire, keep churning it, and I think you'll be all right there. This is Sutton for me.
I'm going to go Chuba here.
Do you have a feeling either way? I think you talked about J.J. Taylor a little bit. I don't have a great feeling on J.J. Taylor versus Bolden. I'm probably not picking up either one of them.
Well, it's like I said. I think J.J. Taylor is going to end up being the pass catching running back here in this backfield. I think he's going to play the James White role.
I have Damien. So he has Harris. And his other running back is Peyton, and is that Peyton Barber and Mike Davis. Am I missing?
I'm not playing J.J. Taylor over those guys. I'll put it that way. Right. Well, who knows? Because if Josh Jacobs comes back, then I'm not playing Peyton Barber.
I mean, you're going Damien and Davis if he has to pick 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, well, no, let me put it this way. If Peyton Barber is playing, if Josh Jacobs is ruled out, then I am playing Peyton Barber and Mike Davis. I really don't feel comfortable playing Damian Harris against that Tampa Bay defense, especially that run defense, because he's not going to catch passes. And so, yeah, like I would not be at all feeling good.
Does he catch some passes? We did see him catch a couple passes week 1. I think he had 3 receptions with James White out. I get it. You're right. J.J. Taylor or Bolden should kind of step into that role, but does he get a couple more passes thrown his way? I just don't trust Peyton Barber. I've seen too much of Peyton Barber. I'm not going to chase the one game that he had. I'm going to go Damian Harris there. But I agree. Not fantastic. Got to do some work.
Did we get this one, Dak or Herbert?
No, we have not. And I haven't.
You skipped it. Anyways, Dak or Herbert. So for me, this is Herbert.
I have Herbert one spot in front of Dak, just given the matchup. Both are fantastic. We've seen Dallas lean on the run game a little bit more these past 2 weeks, especially last week against the Eagles because they were dominating, so it made sense to. I like them both, but I'll go Herbert.
On this one, B-dubs, how do you think the 49ers – we already kind of discussed this. Do you want to give the summary version of this?
Summary version, we are just trusting Elijah Mitchell a little bit more. We've seen him get the entire workload for 2 weeks. He got to start over Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon did not look fantastic. I think it was kind of first game. Needs to kind of, he just needs more reps, but I don't know if he gets that over Mitchell. So we were playing Mitchell, thinking Sermon might close the gap as the season goes on.
Alexis season. Who wins this trade? Ja'Marr Chase, who I got off waivers. I don't know how that happened. Good for you.
What?
And Kareem Hunt for Joe Mixon. I don't mind it. Like I think it's a good trade. I think you're fine with it.
Yeah, that's a top 5 to 7 running back.
Especially considering you got Ja'Marr Chase off waivers. That's just not really fair.
Yeah.
DJ Moore or Amari Cooper at the flex.
That's gonna be Moore. That's gonna be DJ Moore for me.
Yes, I'm gonna go DJ Moore as well. See, would you drop Chenault for Terrace? Yes.
Easy.
Which is sad because I really liked Laviska coming into the season. Jesse, Peyton Barber or Tyson? This is going to be, if Josh Jacobs is out, I'm probably going to play Peyton Barber. If it's Tyson, if Josh Jacobs plays, it's going to be Tyson. I don't really want to play any of these Ravens running backs against this defense, but if you had to, I guess that's the way you want to play. But
if Peyton Barber goes out and gets another 23 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown, we have bigger problems going on in the world. So I'm not buying that from Peyton Barber. I'm going to go Tyson Williams. I get it. He only had 5 carries.
I don't know. I do not at all think he's going to go out and rush for 100 yards and a touchdown again. But this is a really bad run. Their run defense is awful. The Chargers is. And so, I think he could get 60 or 70 yards and a touchdown. I don't know if Tyson could do that. Tyson barely was utilized last week against Detroit.
I get it. The snap share was still favoring him. Man, Freeman looked terrible. I'm surprised they didn't do what you said to Nagy and they just had him, walk home, Uber home, because Freeman was horrible on a carry. He literally stopped mid-run. So yeah, I'm gonna go Tyson. He has been running well the first 2 weeks. Didn't do what we wanted him to do in week 3. I'm gonna go back to the well week 4.
All right, Andrew, top defense for the week: Bills, Bengals. I mean, if the Bills are out there, you're taking the Bills no matter what. But
yep.
That's where I would come out. Yeah, I mean, you can't get much better against that, especially against Davis fucking Mills. Jack. Okay, I didn't miss anything. Start 2, Najee, Zeke, Carson. Who you sitting? I'm sitting Carson.
I'm sitting Carson.
Brian, what New England running back can you pick
Saw
up
this one.
Change it? This is what we already did?
Yep, already did.
How did we go up then? Bryce, full PPR, pick 2, Debo, David Montgomery, Deontay, OBJ, or Chase Edmonds.
Monty. Gosh, I want to love Chase Edmonds more, but I can't. Monty and Deontay Johnson, if he plays. If Deontay Johnson sits, Chase Edmonds.
Ooh. It's David Montgomery for me, and then if Deontay Johnson plays, I'm playing him. If not, it's OBJ. We already got this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Truth Teller, thank you guys for the information. Last question: Should I go get Curtis Samuel or Jerry Jeudy? They're both available. Jerry Jeudy for me.
Yep, Jerry Jeudy. Or yeah. I just wonder if Jerry Jeudy is out for another 4 or 5 weeks. Will he still be there? See what Curtis Samuel does here in week 4. But Jeudy is the better long-term option, I think.
All right. Patterson or Gaskin? This is Gaskin.
Yeah.
We didn't answer these the last time.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on here with
So
the team.
team one. So I guess he's just asking, should we make any changes? So Josh Allen, obviously, he doesn't have another quarterback, so he's there. Najee, Madison, you're not playing. Dalvin Cook's going to play this week, so you should drop him out. And I'm guessing that's Dalvin Cook. I'm guessing on the bench because he has no other running back that he has.
I hope it's Dalvin Cook. Yeah, if it's Dalvin Cook, you're starting Dalvin Cook. If not, you gotta find yourself a running back.
Wide receiver, Diggs, Lamb, you're good there. Cup, you're not sitting any of those guys for them, so you're good there. Team 2, Josh Allen, Pollard, Carson. I don't know who Jettis is, but A-Rob, Kelsey, Beasley. Bench is Patrick, Henderson, McKissick. Waivers is Gainwell and Fuller. So I think if Darrell Henderson plays, you're playing him.
Yes.
If he doesn't,
over Pollard, to be clear, right?
Yes, over Pollard. Yes. If he doesn't, I think you keep this. Well, if you want to go Tim Patrick, I don't mind that. Tim Patrick over Beasley, I'm fine with.
Sure.
But other than that, I think you're good there. And then team 3, man, this is the Josh Allen team. I remember that from last week too. Every team he's got Josh Allen. Henry, JT, DJ Moore, Rondell Moore, Pitts, bench. I'm starting Mike Evans over Rondell Moore.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I think that's all from there. Gabe, happy PR. Should I keep Cook in my tight end spot or drop and pick up any of these guys? Gasecki, Conklin, Schultz, or Knox?
I'm giving Cook another week. All those are good streamable guys. I'm going to give Cook one more week. He's running more routes than all of those guys.
Me personally, I would go Gasecki in this one, but I don't mind either. I think Jared Cook's on a really good offense. So,
hey Kev, I think we skipped one. I'm going to click up here in between his team 1 and team 2. Did we get Rick here? Corey Davis, Patrick, or Renfro?
No, we did not. So that's good. Good that we get that. Rick. So this for me, it would be Patrick on that. Or no, excuse me, it would be Corey Davis.
And I'm going to go Patrick on that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Oh man, I think we've almost made it to the bottom.
Are we caught up? Let's
2
go.
2 hours and 47 minutes. These streams keep getting longer, which is totally is amazing. It's awesome.
We love it. We're here for the people.
Start 2 receivers and 1 flex. A-Rob, Deontay, Devonta, AB, Mike Davis, Eli Mitchell. So A-Rob and Deontay are locked in, and then my flex is going to be Devonta.
Yep, same.
Jasper, should I start Tyler Higbee or Kyle Pitts? You keep waiting for Kyle Pitts to actually do something. I am going to go with Kyle Pitts.
I'm going to go Higbee. Goes against Arizona. I think when we talk about these high-scoring games, anybody versus Arizona so far has been a high-scoring game. I think the Rams will need to continue to throw, as they have been. They've been one of the most pass-happy teams in the NFL, passing farther down the field than what we've seen from Matt Ryan. I'm going to go Higbee there.
All right. Karn, back in the chat. Fred is asking Jamal Williams for Juju/Jacoby. Should I make the move? I think
it's even. It just depends on. Do you have the depth at running back? Because Jamal Williams, when these flex weeks come or when the bye weeks come, Jamal Williams is going to be a guy that people are going to say, "Do I flex him?" Because that's where they're going to be at with running backs. When we have week 7, I think we have 6 teams out on bye. Jamal Williams will be started a lot. So if you don't have that level of a running back, I might stay on the Jamal Williams side.
I think it ultimately depends on what does the rest of your roster look like. Oh,
Yeah.
I have Carson, Gaskins, and Hunt. So that's like his fourth running back. He says he's
third running back over Gaskin. So far.
Yeah, I was just I don't know about that, but
Gaskin hater here. I would not. I mean, I respect Juju and Jacoby. I think they both,
and
Jacoby,
who do you
we've
have at
already
wide
talked about.
receiver? Do you even need an
Right.
or how I don't know, do you even need a wide receiver?
Yeah. I'm gonna say no. Hey, I'm gonna skip back up here. You missed Jalen Reagor being a good pickup. I actually like Jalen Reagor. He's gotten a decent workload. He should have had a touchdown in week 2. I think he led the wide receivers in targets, or maybe led the team in targets this past week against Dallas. It depends who you're dropping for him, but I think he's an okay pickup. If anything's to happen to Devontae Smith, he would be the wide receiver 1 there. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, 8 targets last week, 5 for 53, double-digit fantasy points last week. So he actually played the most snaps he's played all year. He played 88% of them. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's a decent pickup. Just depends on who you're dropping. And then rank them: Patrick, Beasley, OBJ, Chark. Man, rank them. Okay,
OBJ.
so yeah, OBJ's 1.
Robbie Anderson, then Patrick, then Chark, then Patrick, Beasley, Ruggs.
Yes.
Boom.
Very thin on running back. Okay. Well, then no, don't make the move then, Karn.
You gotta keep him.
Need one of each: running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex. Tyler Boyd, Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith, Tim Patrick, James Robinson. I don't see another. Oh, so okay. So running back: James Robinson, Henderson, or Mike Davis. It's gonna be J. Rob.
Man, Henderson. I'm gonna go Henderson.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go James Robinson. Wide receiver: Tyler Boyd, Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith. I'm gonna go with Devonta Smith.
Devontae Smith, yeah.
Tight end: Dalton Schultz, Hooper, or Knox.
Ooh, this one's good. I'm gonna go Knox. He's the only tight end there. I get it. Dalton Schultz has been a little bit better, especially 2 touchdowns. That's going to boost your stats, but it could be a Blake Jarwin week. I just never know. I know Knox is the one tight end there.
Okay, and then flex. So then you have
the opposite. You went James Robinson. I went Henderson. I'd just play James Robinson in my flex.
I would go Tyler Boyd.
I would go Tyler Boyd. I didn't realize Tyler Boyd was a choice there. I go Tyler Boyd over Devontae Smith. I missed that for wide receiver.
Okay, so for me, I would go James Robinson, Tyler or Devonta Smith, Knox, and then my flex would be Tyler Boyd. You would be Darrell Henderson, correct?
Boyd.
Tyler Boyd at wide receiver. Tight end would be Knox, and then your flex would be J. Rob.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Who would you guys start at flex? Robbie Anderson or Devonta Smith?
Yep.
Gaskin, Sermon, Moore, Hubbard. Pick one for the flex. Standard league. I'm going to go with.
What Moore is that? That can't be DJ Moore. That has to be Elijah Moore. Rondale Moore. Probably Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
Probably Rondale Moore. I'm going to go Hubbard.
Yes. Would you guys play Sutton over Julio this week, even if he plays? Yes, I think you definitely could.
Not for me. If Julio plays, they get the Jets. I think they will trash that Jets secondary.
We'll see. I just think they could just run the shit out of the ball. But
absolutely,
long haul, keep Cardinals defense or pick up Bengals. I don't know if any of these guys are long haul, right?
No, both of these would be streamers for me. I'm sitting them or dropping them for the next streaming defense.
Gasicki or Goddard?
I'm going to stick with Goddard. I understand if you want to chase the targets. The targets were fantastic. I will have Goddard slightly ahead of Gasicki.
Stream. Yep. Just exactly what we said. You can stream defense. Totally agree. My running backs are Carson, Hunt, Gaskin, Williams. Wide receivers, Diggs, TMC, Smith, Pittman, Kirk. You don't need wide receivers. So absolutely not. Do not make that trade.
Mm-mm.
And also, you can drop Mike Gesicki. I don't know why you have him whenever you have Kelsey. There's no reason to hold Mike Gesicki when you have Travis Kelce.
I think we need to help him here because he needs to upgrade running back. He needs to absolutely upgrade running back here. I think if Diggs or TMC go off and has a week, can you downgrade to like a Chase Claypool and pick up, a running back too, or maybe pair a Devontae Smith and a Hunt and then get like a tier 1 running back. I'm looking to try and upgrade running back, probably trying to get a running back 1. If you can trade Hunt or Gaskin, let's have Gaskin have a good week. I would absolutely move Gaskin. I'm trying to move one of those, Hunt or Gaskin, with a wide receiver and get a top 12-ish running back if I can.
Yeah, I think that's probably a smart move. You have your area of strength as wide receiver. You have a lot of wide receivers to deal from, and you're not great at running back. It's very thin. If something happens to Chris Carson, you're going to be in a world of pain. So I think that's what I would look to. I don't know if I'd want to trade Diggs. I'd prefer to trade TMC or even, if Devonta Smith has a really big game or somebody like that, to move one of them and maybe package one of not Travis Kelce, but if Mike Gesicki has a really good game too, this week, then I think you package him in terms of that. And you're not shooting for Aaron Jones or somebody like that. I think you shoot for, maybe an Antonio Gibson or, Jonathan Taylor, guys that are going there. I think it would be a lot easier to acquire. Do I win trading away Devontae Adams for CMC? Yes. There is no player, especially in a 1v1, that I want that I would rather have over CMC.
Christian McCaffrey is the running back 5, and he missed 3/4 of football.
Yeah. Colts D, Denver D, Bears, Detroit, Pittsburgh.
Bears out of this group, but if Cincy's available, I'd actually take the Miami side over the Colts defense.
Yeah. Okay. Allen Robinson or Robert Woods. This is Allen Robinson for me.
I agree.
Half PPR, Waddle, Devonta, Rondale.
Devonta.
Agreed. I have A.J. Brown and Deontay Johnson hurt, but if either play, I'm going them, obviously.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon or Robert Woods? Robert Woods.
Yep.
Pick one. Cincinnati, Miami, LA Chargers, Denver.
Cincinnati, first pick. Miami, second pick.
All right. Jasper, Pittman or Debo? I'm going Debo.
Yeah, hard to sit Debo. I'll go Debo as well. Did we do it? No, another one snuck in. Quick, get it.
Oh, no.
Get it, then sign out.
Mark, hey, we're here. It's now we are almost for 3 hours now. The plan was 2 hours, but here we are for 3 hours. No question goes unanswered.
It's true.
Mike
every
Davis
time.
Or Eli. Oh, here we go. Mike Davis or Eli Mitchell.
No, we just got so many more. I'm going Eli Mitchell.
Yes, I agree. Which defense stream? Saints or Titans? I'm going Titans.
I'm going Titans. Yep.
Pitts or Gesicki? You got to go Pitts with that.
Pitts.
ZD Chance over at Twitch. Is Josh Jacobs and Judy for Robert Woods, Jamal Williams worth it? I say
no.
Right now, I think yes. Long term, I don't know if I want to do that. But
no.
Okay. Chuba Hubbard, safe RB2. Yeah, it depends on who your other option is.
Safe is iffy. Safe is an iffy word. Really, no running back after 16 is safe.
Crip, yes, I agree. Titans D is trash, but I don't know if you've seen the Jets offense play lately, but it is even worse.
Here's the misconception, I think, with defenses. You can have mediocre defenses, and the Titans are probably below mediocre. All you need is a bad offensive matchup, and they can get you 6 to 8 points. If they get a couple turnovers, they can get you 10 points. So all you need is a bad offense. I'm more looking at the offense than the defense when I'm grabbing a DST.
Alejandro Pitts on this one. Eli Mitchell or Moss. This is going to be Zach Moss for me.
I'm going to stick with Eli Mitchell.
Todd, pick up Zach Moss or Emmanuel Sanders with the number 1 waiver.
Most likely you're going to need a running back. I would go Moss here.
Yes, I would agree, especially I think just from a long-term perspective. And if I can get a running back, I lean more towards running back than wide receivers. Wide receivers are going to pop off. Pick 2, CEH, Gaskin, Mitchell, Javonte Henderson. CEH and Mitchell for me.
CEH and Henderson for me.
What do you think about Mixon this week? Absolutely great matchup for him. He's probably going to go absolutely nuclear tomorrow night. So I absolutely love him. Eli Mitchell or Devonta? Devonta.
Yeah, close, but Devonta.
Mike Williams or Antonio Brown's revenge game or Jonathan Taylor? Pick one for flex.
We forget it's an AB revenge game as well. Or Jonathan Taylor.
I'm going JT.
I'm going JT as well.
I know it's tough. Mike Williams is really crushed, but Crip, Casey Hayward is likely going to be matching up against him a lot. And I've said this probably 4 or 5 times now, but he has been absolutely elite so far this year for them. So I think that is going to be one of the worst matchups he has had. So with that being said, that's all the questions. We got to hurry up and get out of here. It has been 3 hours. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody being here. We try to answer everybody's questions. I really, really, truly do appreciate the support, super chats, all that stuff. We appreciate it. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have more questions, like Discord. It says at the very bottom, jump in the Discord. The link is in the description below. It's absolutely free, nothing needed. All you got to do is jump in there, and it's going all the time. All the time, there's people in there talking. So that's all we're looking for. I appreciate everybody checking out the show. We will see you again tomorrow night if you play DFS.
Tonight.
We'll be back. Yeah, I guess tonight. Well, me and Maddie will be back tomorrow night for the DFS Week 4 breakdown. We'll be doing that tomorrow night, and then after that, this weekend we'll be back Sunday to answer all your start-sit questions once we have more clarity right before kickoff. So that's at 10 a.m. Like I said, jump in the Discord. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. Well, have a good Thursday and a good rest of the week. Bye.